He's calling Sylvia. Hello, Sylvia.
Oh, hello, Nick. Well, I've been listening to you, and actually I've been woken up because I switched off. But listening to you at the beginning, you've been talking a load of rubbish about people skitting about people that voted out.
Yeah.
Now, I watched those that have been on the march, the Remainers, and they were all what we...
Unwashed hippies. Groovy. I bet that most of them were on drugs.
Want to score some pot?
Snowflakes, yes. And what do you think? They've no idea what we've had to pull up with in this country. First World War, I lost my grandfather. Second World War, Afghanistan, that perk took us to Tony Blair. And what I would say is, these young people have no idea. And to give these people a vote, they've no idea what hardship we have to put up with in this country. We're not going to be browbeaten like Ireland.
In Afghanistan.
Brought into the European Union. For the start, no, listen, France, the rioting, and Germany are the only two countries, what I'd say, have got something about them, but they're on the knees. And this country is prosperous. And all I would say is, to all you people, we are wanting to leave, but we want to trade with you, and we are going to stand on our own 2 feet. You can laugh, but that's what I feel. Thank you.
Okay, lovely to talk to you, Sylvia. As soon as you have another thought, you let me know straight away. Yes, I'm trying to connect a call in Orpington. Hello, David.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, well, it's an impressive figure that they managed to get 1 million people. I was actually on the Brexit march, and I've been on the Brexit march, should I say, and I did it on the 23rd of June 2016. There was 17.5 million people turned up. It was a good day, good turnout, and I think it was slightly more than turned out for the Remain.
Okay, well, do you want to go again and see how it works out for you?
No need.
No, of course not. Of course, because you won once. It's funny that Nigel Farage, your hero, did say at the time, just before the vote took place, that if it was 52 to 48, it would be unfinished business. Do you remember he said that?
Well, it's interesting that...
Well, do you remember? Do you remember that he said that?
I do remember he said that, yeah.
Well, it was 52 to 48. So how come it's not unfinished business?
Because he's a fighter and we had to leave. The oppressive EU is not a place to stay.
The oppressive EU? Are they oppressing you? Do you feel oppressed?
It's
in Orpington?
The United States of Europe is not a good place to stay.
Why is that, David?
Because
how are they oppressing you?
Since 1991, they've inflicted or insisted on 27,500 laws upon our country.
And which one do you dislike the most?
Which one don't I like the most? Probably, I don't like the fact that they can overrule our high court.
Which rule do you not like the most?
One big one is that they can overrule our high courts. There you go.
No, which rule?
That is a rule. One rule is that if you lose in the High Court, you can go to the European High Court. That overrides it. I don't like that one.
No, you're avoiding the question. Which specific rule don't you like?
OK, the fact that we have to pay £2 million an hour to be a member. I don't like that one.
Well, that's not actually true, though, as you must know.
That's 11 billion divided by how many hours there are.
We pay about 9 to 10 billion a year for membership of the EU. That's 18.6 billion minus the rebate of 5.6. That's 13 billion minus 4 billion, which comes back to the public and private sector from the EU to us. So that's about 9 to 10 billion a year, or about 5 days tax receipts that the government pulls in.
Okay, another one.
Against 9 to 10 billion a year, the net benefit of EU membership is worth about 4 to 5% of gross domestic product, or 62 to 78 billion pound a year. Now, I'm no expert in maths, David, but 78 billion is a bigger number than 10, isn't it?
There are many facts and many things out there. One thing we don't have is a trade with America, which would be 4 times bigger than it is now.
Are you aware that America is our biggest market for exports?
Yes.
To say that we don't trade with America is ridiculous. It's our biggest customer.
What's ridiculous is that you feel that we need a bunch of unelected officials ruling our country who don't actually care.
No, not unelected, elected.
What, the main the people that we hear about talking about, they're not elected. You know what they did one time?
Either they are elected directly by the people, who can be bothered to go out and vote, and it's a vanishingly small number in this. It's embarrassingly small, which is why we have so many cranks representing us in Europe. It's about 33%, something like that, who went out to the last European elections. Either they are directly elected by the people, or they are put there by the people who are directly elected by the people. I mean, we don't elect every single person that is running this country. We don't elect the civil service. We don't elect the House of Lords. To say that the European Union is full of unelected individuals is to ignore what's happening in this country, David.
Well, the fact that the people who run in the Parliament, that they are wholly overall racist in the sense of how they operate.
Racist?
I'm white. Well, I'm white, but I don't like the fact that there's, there's 800 of them, and out of 800, do you know how many black people and Asian and Chinese people?
Do you know whose fault that is? Do you know whose fault that is? It's the people that vote for them, David.
And when we leave,
and I think the reason, and the reason may be, is because the people who vote for the European MEP, or the MEPs, are pretty much the same people who voted to leave. Single-issue obsessives, such as yourself. Mitcham, hello, Richard.
Hello, sir. But I'm live now, aren't I?
Hello, sir. That just implies you've got no idea who I am or anything about this show. You just called up in a blind fury.
Well, that is true. That is very true.
Right. See, that's 4 years of psychological studies not gone to waste. Not entirely, anyway.
All right, okay. Yeah, go on, I'll accept that. What I've got to say is, I think Theresa May should be ousted immediately.
Ousted?
Yeah, completely ousted.
Right.
And taken over by Boris Johnson, providing he can unite the Conservative Party to take us out of Europe. And I don't think we should have any fear of leaving Europe and competing with the rest of the world.
Right.
Right.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've given it a lot of thought.
I have given it a lot of thought, yes. I have given it a lot of thought, yes.
Okay. All right, well, lovely to speak to you, Richard. And when you have another thought, I want you to let me know straight away, all right?
Yes, I'll do.
Okay, thanks. Boris Johnson should be in charge. No. It's a no from me. Bristol. Hello, Stephen.
Hi.
Stephen.
How are you?
I'm great, mate.
Right, Nick. Right, first question is...
Question?
If you're prepared to answer it.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard it yet.
How did you vote in the referendum?
How did I vote?
You a Remainer or neither?
Remainer.
Right. So that's why, when I was listening to your programme a little bit earlier, and heard you when we had some leavers on, you seem to be all the time very anti-against and putting leavers down all the time.
Well, only if they say something that I don't agree with.
Well, what is the problem with we all...
We all what?
We all voted in the referendum.
Yes,
You know, the biggest turnout in history.
Some of us did.
In this country.
Yeah.
And 52% of people voted to leave.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew we wanted, or 52% of people voted to leave, and leave meant leave.
Well, what does that
Didn't
mean?
matter.
But that's a meaningless statement, Stephen. Leave means leave. What does that mean?
We were leaving the EU institutions and leaving the European Union so we could take back control of our own destiny.
Take back control of our destiny. Well, what does that mean?
Yes. Well, that means basically that we can take back our laws, or we're not paying big fees to EU. Yes, we would have to obviously do trade deals with other countries and whatever. The biggest problem.
Well, does that include the European Union?
Well, obviously we'd have to do a deal with them to actually.
Right. So if it would benefit us from being inside the customs union, for instance, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, if we benefited materially from that, or to be inside the single market, if we benefited from that, if we made money from that, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, we don't, because we're a net contributor to the EU.
Yes, but the money doesn't just go in one direction. You pay to be member of a club, and you get benefits from being in that club. So if we paid, for instance, a £5, but we got £10 back from our membership, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
That would be good if we were in that situation.
Well, we are.
But we're not in that situation.
But no, we are, though.
We pay 20 billion in and get 10 billion back.
Yes, but but we don't own that's not the end of the flow of money, though, Stephen. As you must know, of course, the benefits of being inside the club don't just amount to how much money we pay for membership and how much money they give us back. The benefits accrue from being a part of this giant trading bloc.
Yes, but we could do the same deals or similar deals.
Do you think?
Other countries.
Really? And what in the last 2 years of negotiations makes you think that?
Because we could do that anyway. We
really?
used to do that years ago. We can still do it again.
Listen, over the last 2 years, this has been the easy part, Stephen. This is just negotiating our exit. This isn't even a trade deal yet. That's the difficult bits that's to come. They normally take 7 years to negotiate. What in the last 2 years makes you think that we could easily do that?
So why should we pay 39 billion?
This is the same argument that you've just given me. This is the same argument that you've just given me.
No. Yeah, but why should we pay 39 billion to get out of the EU?
Because they didn't just make this figure up. Because that is what we have already agreed to spend. This is an amount that we've already agreed to.
Right. Today on the news, you had I think it was one of the Irishmen, is Coveney, is it, or whatever? And the Southern Irish government now are panicking because they're wondering over, obviously, with the no-deal scenario about, obviously, there being no backstop deal. And he is actually turned round and said on the news that if there was a no-deal scenario, obviously, they would have to come and sort out some sort of scenario where there would be no border.
How are they going to do that?
Well, this is what he was saying. But he's saying exactly what the ERG have been saying, where you can do it through, obviously, outside the...
Yeah, magic technology that hasn't been invented yet.
Well... Yeah, but this is what the Irish are saying now. The Southern Irish government are saying, because they're panicking, because it'll affect them a hell of a lot more than what it affects us and Northern Ireland. Because Southern Ireland do most of the deals with us and most of their traders with us.
Yeah. Well, so to hell with them? Is that your position?
Well,
I don't know what you're saying. What you're saying, Stephen?
Them, but at the end of the day, the politicians need to sort it out, and
that's what they've been trying to do for 2 years. And you're telling me that it would be easy to negotiate more complicated trade deals when they can't even get this done in the space of 2 years?
Yeah, but it's the European Union that's stopping.
Oh, please. Yes, let me connect. Cornwall. Hello, Sandra.
Hello.
Sandra.
Yes, that's right. I hope. I've just got some very good news that I saw yesterday.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that.
Well, it is better.
You called just in time, Sandra. Good news. Lay it on me, baby.
All right. On Bloomberg yesterday morning, and you can check it out. I'm sorry I haven't got the country, but I think it might be Sweden. They've got an investment fund of €1 trillion, and they have said they will invest billions in Britain whether we stay or leave the EU.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say. I thought it sounded quite cheerful. But I do have some rather sad news.
How many billions?
I don't know, billions.
Well, how many?
I don't know, it didn't say.
Well, is it 1 or 100?
I don't know.
Is it 1,000 billion?
Just a minute, they just said that they're investing in this country
Yeah.
because they consider we've got a great future, whether we leave or stay.
Well, there's a whole country full of people that will need to eat and buy stuff. I mean, nobody's suggesting that we're going to burst into flames, flip upside down and sink.
Anything, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It depends how much we're talking about, Sandra.
Well, why don't you ring up Bloomberg and get more details?
Oh, homework? Oh, but miss, it's the weekend.
Oh, they'll be available.
What? I don't care about them. I'm talking about me.
Oh, dear.
You're calling up and giving me homework. Can you believe that?
Well, I'll give you something else to cheer you up.
Yes.
Today, Constance Hunter, KPMG chief economist, said on Bloomberg there's a lot to be concerned about in terms of Europe's growth outlook.
A lot to be concerned about in terms of Europe's growth outlook.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Is that supposed to cheer me up?
Well, you see, you weren't very cheered by the other bit, were you?
Well, no, because you there was no detail there. You said they're going they're going to give us, not give us, they're going to invest some money here, presumably looking for a profit, but you've got no idea how much.
Well, of course I haven't, unless the television, unless the news tells you. But at least it must be some considerable amount of money.
Well, is it...
Just invest $1 billion, for goodness sake. They've got 700 and something billion to invest.
Well, are we going to get all of it?
I've no idea. My estimated guess is probably about 100 billion.
Estimated? In other words, you just pulled that number out of the air because it was nice and round.
Not
yes.
particularly.
Yes, you did. You just admitted that you had no idea what number, and then you just pulled 100 million out of the air. Billion.
Just a thought. I bet it would be.
I bet it would be. That's an absolutely ridiculous thing to say, Sandra. This call started okay-ish, and it's just got worse with every syllable that you've uttered. There's a country, you don't know which one it is, but it's going to invest a lot of money in this country, but you don't know how much. Isn't that great news? It's no news at all. Let's have a call in Southport. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
Andy.
2 questions on the ballot paper in 2016.
Question 1.
Do you want to remain in the EU?
Question 2.
Would you like to leave
Yes.
the EU? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the establishment always thought that everyone would remain, or would the general public be fake not to vote? And credit to David Cameron, he put the question up.
No credit to David Cameron. At all. We're still not missing you, Dave.
I think this is nonsense.
So, the EU, you're going on about the running the clock down, the government.
When you say the establishment, who are you talking about exactly?
The people that run the country. The unelected civil servants, as you put it.
The unelected civil servants run the country?
That's what you said before.
No, I didn't.
You did?
I don't think I did.
Okay, so...
They don't run the country. They do the running. They do the organisation as directed by the people that we elect to run the country.
Right. So the point is, you said as well that the Conservative government was running the clock down. They're not. The EU are running the clock down.
I didn't say that. I don't know what show you're listening to, Andy. I did not say that the Conservative government was running the clock down. I'd never said that. Not in this show or ever anywhere.
The UK government then.
No, I didn't.
What did you say then?
Well, I can't summarise what I've said in the last hour and a half, but I do know what I didn't say. I did not say that the Conservative government were running the clock down. That's the opposite of what I think.
So, can I just say this?
Please do.
The EU are running the clock down as well. It's not just the UK government.
But I don't think either of them are running the clock down. I think Theresa May is desperately trying to fashion a cheese souffle out of the turd sandwich that her predecessor gifted her.
And I think the EU want a deal as well, don't they? Because they want the 39 billion quid.
Well, they want a deal because many hundreds of thousands of businesses in Europe depend on the interconnection between their operations and companies in this country. It's like ivy climbing up a tree.
Can I make one statement and
another one?
Question. So we are going to leave the EU. That's inevitable.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
Because we're not going to get a second referendum. And credit.
Well, we don't really know that. I mean, one thing that we know over the last 3 years is that we don't know anything.
I know. Well, yeah. But if we go to WTO, say we was going to check out on the 29th next Friday. Just say that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And it was set state. Do we, on the 30th of March, go straight into WTO? How does it work? What they said about it? Are they all up for us joining in? How many countries are in it? What's the situation there? Are they an organisation?
Andy, you've had 3 years. Do you have the internet in Southport?
Oh, yeah.
Right, well, do you want me to do your homework for you? I don't even want to do my homework. God, can you believe that? Let's have a call in Bedford. Hello, Rob.
Yeah.
Rob.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, how are you?
Great, mate.
Good. Look, I've been listening in. I'm sorry if I'm going to rant a little here, so please forgive me, okay? But, you know, I'm getting a bit tired of everybody criticising and insulting everybody else because they have a different opinion. You know, it's not the way forward. Everybody criticising May, everybody, you know, in life there are standards and drains, and there are people that want to actively move forward, and there are people that just sit there and criticise all the time. Now, you know, for the viewers out, for the listeners out there, I'm a leader. Okay, I'm not claiming that I'm right. I'm not claiming I know any more than anybody else. Okay, and most of the people in the UK, frankly, have a limited knowledge on all of this. Okay, and none of us are experts on it. Okay, but what I see in a debate is that two people can express an opinion, and we can all gain knowledge so that we can make our opinions, you know, that bit more knowledgeable, and we can base it on more facts and more information. Now, I want to make 2 points. First of all, with regard to May, I don't particularly like her. I don't think she's particularly strong, but then again, I don't think any leader is that we have at the moment. But I think this woman was given a completely, almost impossible role here. I mean, she's got the majority of the people turning around saying we want a no deal. Okay, she knows she can't get that through. She's got the.
Well, it's not the majority. It's not the majority of people who say we want no deal. It's a minority of people. But anyway, go on.
That was 52%. Sorry.
No, that's no. They said they wanted out. They didn't say they want no deal. That was not on the card.
Well, there's the confusion there, isn't there? Because in my experience, people that I've spoken to in everyday life, when people saw that box, do you want to remain in the EU? Yeah. That's what it means.
No, it absolutely did not mean that, Rob, because nobody even thought of that before they went and ticked that box. They didn't think about no deal
I think you're wrong.
Okay, well, we'll just agree to disagree. What else? What else have you got?
On that. Okay, but nevertheless, anyway, she was going to. If that were the case, she was going to present it to Parliament. The Parliament were going to make their own, no matter what, anyway. Okay, so there was always going to be huge disruptions. She's got the EU that were basically going to throw up a brick wall, make it an example of the UK.
Again, that's completely untrue.
Why is that untrue?
They were going to make an example of us. In what respect are they making an example?
Well, listen, they certainly didn't want us to leave. They
of course
not. To leave. It's a link in a chain, a very important link in a chain.
Yeah.
And they were going to set an
apart from anything else, we've given them a giant headache. For 2 years now, we've given them a headache. Of course they didn't want this.
Well, we might have... No, I'm not saying that. No, what I'm saying is they wanted us to be very much part of it. They wanted all the countries to remain in.
Well, yeah, because we were all doing fairly well out of our membership.
Okay, well, we'll come on to that at the moment, but I still nevertheless think that they were making these negotiations as difficult as possible.
No, that's completely. By what measure are they making it as difficult as possible? How are they doing that?
Well, because they're not being particularly, helpful in the negotiation.
Well, yeah, they would say the exact same thing about us because we haven't told them what we want yet.
And they may well do. Okay.
Well, they have done already. Over and over again, they've said that.
On that one. Look, my point is, I understand you're going to disagree on perhaps most of the things that I'm going to say here, okay? But
only the things that are wrong.
See, here you go again. Here you go again with right and wrong. It's an opinion. What makes your opinion right? Do you know what the EU are thinking?
Do I know what they're thinking? Well, you seem to know what they're thinking. You've established already that you know what they're thinking. And me disagreeing with you means that I know what they're thinking.
What's happening here is everybody who doesn't agree with the next person is all of a sudden a moron or wrong.
Well, okay? Did you hear the word Did you hear the word moron coming out of my mouth?
No, but I hear it coming out of a lot of people's mouths.
Okay, well, I'm not responsible for them.
All right, listen, I don't want to turn this into some sort of... Right, let me just carry on with these. You see, I don't wish to have an argument with you. I just want to express an opinion without being told I'm wrong. It's my opinion, okay? It may not be yours, but it's my opinion, okay? But one thing's for certain is, that there's many people within each party that is disagreeing with the proposals of their party leaders, okay? So... What I'm trying to say here is she was given pretty much a poisoned chalice to deal with. I don't believe there's anything. I don't think anybody could have particularly done any better than she's been able to do. I don't know if you agree with that, but if you don't agree with that, perhaps you could tell me how they could have done better than that.
No, I think she was given a poisoned chalice by a dopey ex-prime minister who just ran away when he realised the calamity that he had left us with.
You see. Why are you saying dope?
Well, that's my opinion of David Cameron. I don't want an argument about it. You said that you're going to give me your opinion. That's my opinion. Okay. But apparently now you're on this programme. You're allowed to give yours. But I'm not allowed to give my opinion.
No, you're welcome to, but I'm just saying, in adult debate, what's the point in calling somebody dopey? I mean, that's just an insult, isn't it?
Yes.
But okay, if that's how you want to debate, then that's up to you, yeah? But look, the reason why I voted to leave was I was unsatisfied with the answers that I got to quite a few things.
Like?
Now, I'm quite willing to change
like what?
my opinion. Okay. Let's deal with the first one, which is we have an NHS service that's on its knees. We have an education service that's on its knees. Pretty much everything we've got is on its knees at the moment. And the Leavers are particularly interested in what's going to happen with regard to immigration. Now, we had 350,000, the size of Southampton, come here last year. In 20 years' time, that's going to be something like about 10 to 12 million.
Assuming people still come at the same rate, which I would suggest that they wouldn't, because those jobs won't be available for them to come to do, because we're about to be overrun by artificial intelligence, and so 30% more of the population is going to be out of work. So why would people come here in order not to work? They come here to work.
Okay, well, that's
plus they come here from outside of the European Union in greater numbers than from inside the European Union.
Okay, but at some point, in order for there not to be enough jobs, there has to be an optimum amount of immigration that comes in. I don't know when that point will be, because we're talking into the future.
The point will be when unemployment figures start to rise, and at the moment they are at a record low.
Okay, so where is that? I mean, you came in with a point, but all I can say is, I was listening to James O'Brien the other day. You said he wants to keep things at present. He sees the future as at present. So at present, it's 350,000.
He sees the future as at present. I don't know what that means.
That's what he said.
What does that mean?
That's what he said.
What does it mean?
The present. He's saying that.
How is the future the present?
I'm going to tell you if you let me speak. He's saying that he's basing his future 20 years based on the present performance, what is currently happening today. So, i.e., 350,000 is coming here today. The financial results of today. All of the.
So you're saying that James O'Brien thinks that there'll be still 350,000 people coming here a year in 20 years?
No, what he's saying is he's basing his view of 20 years' time based on today and what he's happy with today, the freedom of movement of today. Yeah. So.
But why are you bringing James O'Brien into this discussion? Where
explaining where I got the 350,000 from? Look, I don't know.
No, the 350,000 is what's happening now. It's got nothing to do with 20 years' time.
An example: in 20 years' time, 350,000. In 20 years' time, it's going to equate to 12 million.
Yeah, but it might. But it's entirely likely that people will be leaving in those numbers in 20 years' time. This is just absolutely meaningless. You're telling me what's going to happen in 20 years' time, Rob? Nobody knows what's going to happen in 20 minutes' time. Let's have a call in. Minehead has been waiting the longest. Hello, Malcolm.
Hi, hello. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for making your call.
What I would like to know is...
Oh, God, more questions.
Is the referendum a contract?
Is it a contract? With the people?
With the government.
With the government?
Because if it's a contract, we said no to the referendum. Is there recourse through courts, or is the government or the parliament so sovereign that it can do exactly what it wants when it wants?
Well, I assume that you're a leaver. I assume.
Pardon?
Yeah. you are a leaver. I assume.
Yes.
Right. Wasn't the whole plan about giving back sovereignty to Parliament?
Well, that's what I thought the idea was. Yes.
Right, but you seem to be complaining about that.
No, I'm not complaining about it. I'm complaining about it if they don't do what the referendum says.
Yes, but that's not parliamentary democracy. That's direct democracy. I thought the idea was to give Parliament overall control, to bring back sovereignty.
Yes, but Parliament asked for the referendum.
Yes. Which was advisory, and then Parliament has to decide the best way forward for the country.
In other words, they gave the referendum, and they weren't they're not interested in whether or not the answer was.
No, we should be interested in what the answer was, and then our elected representatives decide on what's best for the country. That's a parliamentary democracy. That's giving Parliament sovereignty. I swear, you leavers are weird. You want, demanding the sovereignty of Parliament, and then you don't want it. Which is it? Pick one, Malcolm.
Yes, but surely Parliament should do what it asks
precisely what the people say. No, that's not. That's a direct democracy. We don't want that. Don't ask the people what they think, because the danger is that they will tell you. No, we don't want that. That's the reason that we've got MPs. What's the point of having all these highly paid experts when we dopes make the decisions for them?
So when it comes to the next ballot box,
yes,
nobody votes for Conservative, nobody votes for Labour.
Mm-hmm.
That would be their fault.
Yes, but that's never going to happen, because who else are you going to vote for?
Well,
the Liberal Democrats?
well,
I voted for the Lib Dems.
I would kick them out.
You kick them out?
Yeah, kick them out.
And replace them with?
One of them.
Replace them with?
Because I believe that's what I hear people around me talking about.
Well, that's because you choose the people around you based on their agreeing with you. People don't surround themselves with people who don't agree with them.
I've got a lot of people who disagree with me.
Well, I can imagine. It sounds like you're a very disagreeable person.
Who wanted to stay in the European Parliament.
Yes.
But they don't agree with the government not carrying through what the referendum says.
Right. Well, the answer to that is we should never have been asked the question in the first place. This is a parliamentary democracy.
Yes, I agree with you there.
Oh my God, I got something right. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
It took just slightly over 2 hours for me to get something right. I am stunned.
But I believe that when they asked the question on the referendum, that they didn't think the answer was going to be what they got.
No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, a stupid man asked a stupid question and got a stupid answer. Who could have thunk it?
Anyway, thanks very much.
Okay, cheers, Malcolm. Here's a call in Blackburn. Hello, Scott.
My main reason for calling in was you said that there's no other policies apart from leaving the EU, and I disagree with that because just tonight Joe Barton was talking about how he's against the water privatisation, and I think that's what the establishment fears most.
Joey Barton?
Joe Barton, UKIP.
Oh, right, okay. Joey Barton. I'd rather hear from Joey Barton.
Okay, and anyway, I think that's what the establishment fears most, a party that's tough on immigration, but also has some Labour policies, because that would be immensely popular with the common people.
Common people? That's a bit
rude.
regular
people. I don't think, because I'm one of them. I'm a peasant.
Well, I don't know. Regular? What, normal, you mean?
Whatever, yeah, I'm one of them, so it's not really rude for me to talk about my own people,
I think the jury's out on that.
I think they want peaceful And foreign policy-wise, they're very good. Nigel Farage wants peaceful relations with Russia. He didn't want to go into Syria, and that's a good thing. It's the establishment.
He wants peaceful. That sounds like he's just repeating what Donald Trump says. Yeah,
well,
I refer you to the answer that my close personal friend Vladimir Putin gave.
What? That there's no collusion whatsoever, and that it's a democratic. If you want Russian collusion, Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God! Hey Scott, here's a good idea. Stop reading the internet because it's frying your brain.
I don't have internet. I don't have it.
You don't have the internet. Well, that's alarming.
I don't.
Well, where did you get this conspiracy theory about it was Hillary Clinton that was colluding with the Russians? Because that's all over the internet. It's conspiracy theory nut jobs who read that on Facebook and then just repeat it verbatim over and over again.
Let me rephrase. What I meant was murky corporations, big business and big government merging to do deals with foreign leaders through the Clinton thing. It's just because it sounds crazy.
Just because it sounds crazy doesn't mean that it's not crazy.
So you're saying the Clinton...
unless it actually is. Yeah, it was Hillary Clinton who was colluding with the Russians because that makes total sense.
So she's completely clean and she's a decent, 100% fine, upstanding...
Anybody is compared to Donald Trump, if that's your question.
I disagree, I think. Because
I don't care whether you disagree, Scott. You've been wrong about many things on this call so far, and we'll just mark that up as one of them. Good grief. Excruciating. He doesn't get the internet. My eye. That stuff is all over Facebook. Jordan.
Nick.
Jordan.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. Just wanted to give an honest picture of what the day was like on Friday. I travelled down myself on the train. It was far from scary. I actually have to say, surprisingly, how safe I felt. There was an overwhelming police presence. I think they were expecting a lot more people than were actually there. There were an awful lot there. Nowhere near 1 million. I don't think there was anywhere near 1 million at Saturday march for the Remainers either. I think that numbers get vastly inflated on either side. I think it's also good to look at how the media portray the Remainers march and the pro-Brexit march. It's an awful lot of coverage, whereas the pro-Brexit march, I believe, got very little coverage. Again, back
now wait a minute. Are you suggesting that the media in this country is pro-Remain?
Well, Nick, I mean, I wouldn't suggest for 1 second that the BBC or the Sky or anyone...
Oh, right, OK. No, well, I'm talking about the press, the newspapers.
Right, well, yeah, media, mainstream media.
Do you really think that the press, the newspapers in this country are mostly pro-Remain? Is that your position?
No, that's not what I said. I said, like, BBC and Sky.
All right, well, no, you didn't initially say that. I thought we were talking about the newspapers, but you're talking about TV, right?
Well, yeah. So I just sort of said like how mainstream media, so like BBC, Sky, for example, how they report on, either march. It seems that the Remainer march got a lot of coverage, and the
it was a bigger march.
Yeah.
Well, it was. Well, it was. I mean, if one person gets killed, then they will get a little bit of press, if anything at all. But if 50 people all get killed at the same time, then it being a bigger event, it will get more press.
Yeah.
As an example.
Just getting back to my point of getting a feel for the actual day itself, it's not at all how people portrayed it, or how you're portraying it, or how you're.
Well, it looked that way from the footage that I saw. I saw people, shaven-headed, furious people, wrapping themselves in the flag and screaming at policemen. That's what I saw. I also saw them jostling cameramen and shouting and screaming at the mainstream media, like you said, and it all looked kind of scary.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I got there from about 1:30, 1:45. I was at the UKIP Tommy Robinson stage, and I was there from about 1:30, 1:45 till about 6:30, 7:15. I saw one person, and she was a woman, and it was only because she was drunk. She got dragged away by the security that were looking after the stage for UKIP and Tommy Robinson. She was dragged away, handed to police, and taken away. The TR stage, UKIP stage, was just down the road. It was literally a stone's throw from the gates of Downing Street.
Yeah, that's probably not the phrase that you want to use. Stone's throw. That's incorrect phrase there, but I know what you're saying. But in my defence, I wasn't describing what mostly what I saw. I was reading Robert Hardman's article in the Lever's Bible, the Daily Mail.
Right.
He was writing about it, not me.
Right. So if I can just carry on with what I was going to say, I was there till about 6:30, 7:15.
Yeah.
And it was extremely peaceful.
Right, but you said that already. Yeah. Okay, I get it. It was all right, but that was your experience of the day, and I appreciate you calling me to tell me that. Let's have a call in Walthamstow. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I'm one of those idiots who voted Leave, and
I'm one of those idiots who voted Remain.
Well, fair enough. And the reason I voted Leave is because everyone's got this crystal ball saying how bad it'll be if we leave the EU, but no one's got a crystal ball saying the worst scenario that would happen if we stayed in the EU and what will happen to the EU. Because, I mean...
Well, I don't think you're comparing light with light. When people like me say that we're losing £800 million a week and £800 billion has already left the country and the pound is worth 15% less, we're not comparing, we're not predicting what's going to happen in the future. We're telling you what's happened right now.
And yeah, but how bad... I mean, the thing is, if we remain, then like you say, then what we should do is we should actually take on the euro, get rid of the Bank of England.
But we weren't going to do either of those two things.
Yeah, but we would have done.
We wouldn't. There's absolutely nothing to suggest that we would have done either of those two things.
There is.
No, there isn't. There's nothing to suggest we would have done either of those two things.
Well, eventually...
No, there's no eventually about it. We've decided already we didn't want to join the euro, and there's absolutely no reason why we should dissolve the Bank of England. Why would we want to do that?
Well, why is it that Ireland... They actually rejected for the euro, and then they had 2 referendums on it before they ended up having it. And I think we would be in the same situation.
But we wouldn't, John. We've already decided we don't want that.
Yeah. At the moment, Nick, we've decided. But in the future...
So you have a crystal ball.
No, because you've seen how the EU have been bullying us at the moment.
No, it's not bullying. It's called negotiation. And they can't give us what we want because we can't tell them what we want. I mean, you might as well say, well, if we stay in the EU, I mean, we might all get killed in a nuclear explosion. Well, that's true. This entire country may burst into flames by spontaneous combustion. That's also true. It might happen. Nothing that you're telling me, John, is actually likely to happen if we remained. But we're not going to remain. We're leaving, so don't worry about it. We're not going to join the EU, the euro, and they're not going to dissolve the Bank of England. Why would they do that? I'm running out of time, so I've got to go. Hopefully that has answered your query. Simon in Watford.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, so I used to be just like you, Nick, a Remainer. But then I switched over to becoming a Brexiteer, and actually life is a lot more simpler.
Is it?
Yes, because now I can say things like, we want to take back control, and we won, and get over it.
Get over it, yeah.
Yeah, you should try it, to be honest, Nick. Honestly, you'll be much more happier in life. But in all seriousness, Remainers, what they do, they talk about the economy, and I don't think that Brexiteers should be debating that. I think that it's really more about the identity and sovereignty of the country.
It's about feelings, yeah. People think that we have lost our identity somehow, but how that is possible, I'm unclear. How is it possible that we have lost our identity? Do you know who you are? Do you know where you're going to?
No, but the thing is, if we continue with this EU program, we will just become more homogenized, if that's the right word.
Is it?
I think that...
Homogenized?
Yeah.
What, like milk?
Yeah, like... No, in a way that, in a sense that, you know, it will be like a United States of America, but Europe version.
I don't,
You know what
but
I mean?
I don't see how that could be possible. How is that going to be possible? I mean, we're part of Europe for a dog's age. Do you feel more European or more British?
Well, the
British.
thing is, at the beginning, it was it was all just about trade, wasn't it? And then slowly but surely, it's gotten more political, and there's more and more rules, and it's now, you know, and now it's gonna become more and more like a United States of Europe. That's what it seems to be like, isn't it?
Well, it is the United States of Europe.
Yeah, but the thing
That's
is,
the whole
we
idea.
won the war in.
Oh my
in World
God!
War
You
II.
just did not say we won the war.
Yeah, we
Oh,
did. We
I'm
did.
sorry. That time's up. I wish you'd started out saying that. Then I could have saved 5 minutes. Stockton-on-Tees. Hello, Brian.
Okay, Nick, good to talk to you again.
Oh no. I mean, hello. It's Mr.
No.
It's Mr. But it's all a project for you, Nick.
No, I'm not talking about that, Nick, tonight.
All right.
This austerity thing, been going on for how long now? 10 or 12 years?
Yes.
What would happen? Just imagine if it was the opposite. It was anti-austerity. You know, it was the opposite to austerity. We were well off. You know, would it really work out? Would we all walk about smiling, would we? You know, would it work out for the better?
Well, it depends what we would do with the money. If like the right wingers want, and they would reduce taxes, which would specifically benefit the rich, then no, we would not be happier. But if we did what the Scandinavians do and taxed us more and used that money to spread the wealth about a bit, then we would be happier. Yeah, but that won't happen because we are in the grip of right wingers in this country.
No, I'm not saying that, Nick. What I'm saying is, forget about taxing anybody, whatever you do. All I'm saying is, if we had, say the working class, we'll pick the working class out first, right? Just say we had another £50 in our pockets more each week. Would we?
I think you need to get that door, a little bit of oil on that door. It's a bit squeaky, dear Brian.
Yeah, it's just a human goal.
Unless you've got a parrot in the background. What is that noise?
The grandkid.
Right.
Got the grandkids for the weekend.
All right, time to shut up a minute.
So all I'm saying is, you know, what it's, you know, because I find out a lot of people, it doesn't matter how much money they have, Nick, they will still waste it.
What do you mean by waste?
Well, I wouldn't say waste. Would still not be satisfied. Still.
Right. Yeah.
You
more
cannot
money
satisfy
after
some
a
people.
certain amount. More money doesn't bring you happiness. I mean, if you only earn £5,000 a year, then another 1,000 would make you happier. But if you earn £150,000 a year, another 1,000 ain't going to make no difference, not nor nothing.
Now, when I was talking about the breadline, I wasn't talking about millionaires and that.
Right.
The breadline people, it gets to a stage where, say, you give them another £100 a week. Now, the breadline people. Now, they still won't be satisfied. I don't think a lot of them people. You know, the ones like the one they get used to that living, and once they spend the money, that extra money, that £100, they still would not be satisfied. They would still want more on top of that.
Well,
you know,
yeah, but we're not talking about them having very much money. I mean, you wouldn't be satisfied with that. Most people wouldn't be.
No, I'm retired now, Nick. I don't sound as though I'm nearly coming on 67.
Yeah, you
I'm
do.
67 in April, right?
Yeah, you do.
Now, well, yeah, I might go to you.
67 in April. You made it.
But anyway, Nick, all I'm saying is this. I'm a pensioner, and what I get, I know for a fact I've got to make ends meet. It doesn't matter what. You pay your bills, everything you have to pay to keep a roof over your head, your electric, your gas and all that, insurances, whatever you have to pay. And then you know X amount you've got left, you've got to make ends meet with it. And I'm fairly satisfied, right? But, I'm sorry, but there's not a lot of people like me. No matter how much money they have, they still want more. You know, and
I can put a number on it if you want. I can put a percentage on the amount of people that are happy with their income.
Go on then.
20%, and that is an actual fact. 20% of the people in this country are happy with their income. Well, let's assume that it's those who earn the most, the top 20%.
Yeah. But
I think up to a certain amount, you don't. Even if you're earning a six-figure sum, I know people who are earning six-figure sums, and they still don't feel that they've got any money. I think they're still struggling to get by.
You know, it would be interesting, though, Nick, if it was the opposite to austerity, just to see how this country would be, or if they would use it in the proper way.
I think it depends what you mean by the proper way. I think the proper way would be to spread it around to benefit all of society, to have a better health service, to have better care, to have better social services, to have better education, to have more police. All of the things that we rely on to knit society together have been underfunded for, like you say, 10 years now. Austerity, in order to balance the books, and it hasn't worked. Every day, we keep getting deeper into the hole of debt. It hasn't worked at all. Staggering.
Before I go, Nick, one thing I've been happy about when I was working was the taxes went right down. I was happy with more money in my pay packet, so you could decide what to do with it. I think if you don't...
That's the opposite of what I just said. That does not lead to happiness, and I've got the proof.
I'm just saying, in personal opinion, if you have it in your wage packet, you get it in the roundabout. You still mightn't get it in the swings because both might still go up and you haven't got your money in your pocket. So you get it one way, don't you, if it's in your pocket. If you don't get it in your pocket and you lose on swings and roundabouts, you lose twice, don't you? I think.
I don't know what you're talking about now. But you're talking about the exact same thing that you were decrying just a moment ago, that if people have more money, they'll just waste it. I would suggest that you have another £100 in your pocket, then you would waste it on beer and flat hats or whatever it is, like Whippet food or whatever it is that you buy, Brian. But
how did you know I had a black Whippet?
If you paid it in tax, if we all put it together in a big pot, and not necessarily this government, but a government, then used it for the benefit of all of us, then we would have a happier society. But people don't want that. They can't see past their own personal income, and you cannot run on that ticket. You can't say to people, "I will tax you more." But the benefit will be that we will spread that wealth around, and the result will be that everybody will be happy in the long term. No politician will get a single vote. Yet we know it works because the happiness index comes out on a yearly basis, and every single time the happiest countries are those that are taxed the most, and the wealth is spread about. Let's have Stoke Newington. Hello, Keith.
Oh, hello, Nick. Yes, good evening.
Keith.
Yes, you raised on the finance equity situation. You described
on the what?
Problem. What you were talking about, everybody, the problems with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. Basically, what you were saying. Mm-hmm. So you described that problem quite eloquently, I must say. But the question
that doesn't sound like me.
No, it doesn't at all. I must say, something was wrong. But the question is, how would you resolve it?
By taxing, by taxing wealth, not income. Well, taxing income, of course, but taxing wealth as well.
Yes, so you're saying that the rich and company directors should be taxed more than the worker, just for a phrase.
Well, I mean, George Soros has said that. What's his name? Bill Gates from Microsoft has said that. Now, if for those people that think that they're being taxed too little, then I think they've probably got something.
Yeah, but he made his money, isn't he? He's made his money out of being an entrepreneur and a director.
Well, yes, but there's an enormous amount of luck that comes with any success, Keith. People who have achieved success would rather we didn't know that and are loath to admit it. But that's the truth. Luck comes along with all success. And also, success isn't achieved in a vacuum. People like I don't know, let's say somebody who makes purple vacuum cleaners, for instance, has benefited from the education that taxes in this country provide. It's both personally and their workers. They've benefited from the roads that taxes that people pay provide. They've benefited from the rule of law that the people's taxes provide. They've benefited from the care, education. Did I mention education? The NHS and so on. Basically, everything that taxes provide in this country has gone into the success of people that make purple vacuum cleaners, for instance. So if a purple vacuum cleaner manufacturer decided after they'd made their money to up sticks and go to a tax haven, that to me seems borderline treasonous. But maybe that's just me.
But you, for example, you said Virgin, Richard Branson.
I didn't mention him.
You did. You were mentioning Virgin.
No, I didn't. A caller did.
Oh, did he?
She.
You agreed with her.
About what?
About Virgin, Branson, for example, being one of the rich.
Well, he is.
Yes, but he left school when he was 14, dyslexic, and through his entrepreneurial spirit and capability, he's created employment for thousands of people.
And you don't think that luck had anything to do with that? If Richard Branson had not heard tubular bells when he was a scrofulous youth, none of this may have happened.
Which tubular bells are you talking about, Nick?
What?
Which tubular bells are you talking about?
There's more than one?
Well, you mentioned he heard them. I'm asking you, which ones did he hear?
What are you talking about? Tubular bells. How many are there?
Well, you said he heard them.
Yeah.
And that was made him rich.
It was the luckiest thing that ever happened to him, and it certainly gave him vast amounts of money at an early stage in his career, which enabled him to go on and build the empire that he did. And it was luck at every turn. I'm not saying that what happened to Richard Branson could have happened to absolutely anybody, but I'm sure that there was a significant number of people who could have made the kind of career that Richard Branson has fashioned for himself, but didn't because of bad luck, because they didn't hear tubular bells. Do you really not know what tubular bells are?
Sounds like a load of bells to me.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, I tried listening to it once, but I like the bit that goes... How does it go?
Yeah. Something like that, yeah. But the other point I wanted to make, Nick,
yes,
is about related to finance and the EU. Haven't you ever considered the fact that it's really only the large industrialists who are pushing to remain in the EU, because they can see that the 500,000 population, or 500 million, whatever it is, in the EU, they know how much taxes they're going to pay over their lifetimes, and therefore they're going to be able to underwrite the foreign debt that Britain owes, the 1.5 trillion. And that's what it's all about. And it's the same industrialists that promoted Hitler, because they saw profit in what he was doing.
Whoa. Back up. I mean, I didn't really understand much of what you just said, but I heard the Hitler part. And are you really saying that the people who want to support the European Union are like Hitler?
I didn't say it was like Hitler. No, I didn't say.
Well, it sounded like it.
They saw that promoting Hitler was going to create profits for them, and
so you are comparing the two. It seems like. Well, otherwise, why would you mention Hitler? What's Hitler got to do with it?
Well, it's an example of.
Well, it's a terrible example.
No, it isn't.
People who support the European Union are like Hitler.
No, you're missing the point, or I haven't explained it properly. What I'm saying is that industrialists know we've got this huge foreign debt. We've got 1.5 trillion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they can see that the 500,000 or 500 million people within the EU, they know how much taxes they're going to pay over a lifetime.
How can they know that? How can they know that?
Because they base it on population. They know how much taxes the average person pays in the UK during a lifetime. And so they can see that revenue is going to underwrite the foreign debt.
Why would an industrialist be concerned about the amount of money that the nation owes? Why would they?
Because if the EU becomes one, they can see that that is going to underwrite the foreign debt that the UK has got.
Well, why would they be concerned about that? And also, how old are these industrialists that they were on Hitler's side? I think they should retire. Put your feet up, ladies and gentlemen. Relax. You deserve it. I got to go, Keith. Let's have Liverpool. Hello, Chris.
Hello, mate.
Chris.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
So Glastonbury was where I used to listen to people like Tony Benn talk in the Sheffield days.
Right.
And he's the one that kind of turned me against Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his point of view was about the rules and that there were unelected elites. And I think the Brexit vote is a revolt against technocracy as much as it is racism, and I don't like the racism part of it.
Technocracy? What does that mean?
Well, like, technocracy is like elitist, technical bods making decisions for the whole. You know what technocracy means.
Well, not really, no. Technocracy.
Okay. Technocracy, yeah, Google it. It's,
that sounds like homework. Homework? No, not at the weekend.
Yeah, well, listeners can Google it if they like. But he was talking about the fact that it's against democracy, and that we don't get to decide a lot of things, and it's hard for this massive group to represent people at a local level.
Well, see, the way I see it is that now we have companies that are so large that they are actually playing countries off against each other. The people who are running countries aren't really in charge of their own tax take anymore, which is the it of where the power is, because companies have decided that it's okay for them to drain money out of countries and put nothing back. And so what we've got now is it's almost like somebody, like I've described it as before, as somebody's pulled the plug out of the bath, and the money in our economy is being drained out by vast international corporations. And the result is that the high street is dying, and our NHS is underfunded, and we haven't got enough police, and all of the rest of the things that are ailing society is essentially because we haven't got enough money. There isn't enough tax being paid by massive corporations that are shutting down other businesses and taking them over. I mean, essentially, it's the customer's fault. It's our fault for choosing to save 10 pence by buying online, knowing that the company that we're buying from doesn't pay any tax. But we do it because we save a little bit of money and it's convenient. So it's actually the customer's fault, the consumer's fault, but it doesn't help that these giant companies are providing a small convenience, knowing that we are suckers for it. But I don't think that a country on its own can fight back. We, on our own, will not be able to fight back against Amazon or Google or Microsoft or Apple or any of these companies. They're bigger than we are. That's the shocking place that we're in at the moment. Companies that are not 10 years old are now bigger than countries. They wield more power in those countries by dint of withdrawing the money than actual governments. I think only by hang on, I'm going to cough. only by joining countries together can they fight back at corporations like Amazon and so on. And what that would look like is the EU, which is one of the reasons that I voted Remain, is that I felt that if you look at life like a school playground, which it pretty much is, people don't really change, then you're better being part of a gang than you are on your own, subject to bullies.
It depends who's running the gang, and the thing is, I think you're definitely right about the tax dodgers, and we have to create laws. But I still think, from my own experience, the cheap labour that we get from Europe puts a lot of workers out in this country.
Sorry, back up. The what? Wait a minute. The what that we get from Europe?
Cheap labour.
Oh, cheap labour. Yeah, but that would. Hang on a minute, Chris. That would fly if we had unemployment in this country, but we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We've got full employment.
Yeah, but I've been unemployed.
Well, okay, all right. But when I say full employment, it doesn't mean 100% employment. Such a thing doesn't exist. But it's about 3-4% unemployment, which is the mark of a healthy economy. You always need a pool of people from which companies can draw from in order to expand. But there's no getting around it. People have not come over here and made workers in this country unemployed because there is not a large pool of unemployed, Chris. There's just no way around that. You can't deny it. That is an actual fact.
I can only speak from my personal experience.
Yeah, but that doesn't. But your personal experience doesn't actually. I mean, I feel for you. I do. Everybody's personal experience is important to them, but an individual instance doesn't negate an overall fact.
But the main thing is, even when I'm employed, it's really difficult. Like you said before, you're working all the time and you can't actually make a living because the competition are living 4 to a room, and I'm talking about Eastern Europeans. They live 4 to a room, they do longer hours, and they work below minimum wage.
Okay, but all right, those are the things that you see, Chris. What you don't see is companies shutting factories down here and opening them in countries where people will live like that. You see, people think that that's the problem. People coming here and taking low-paid, unskilled jobs. So many studies, particularly in America, have shown that what that actually does, instead of turfing out the indigenous workers, it actually helps. It makes them step up on the ladder because they are ahead of them for promotion and so on. So the people who used to pick strawberries, for instance, are now managing the people that pick strawberries who've come over here for 6 months from Poland or wherever. But what you don't see is companies leaving, is opening factories elsewhere. And if you think about it, things used to get made in this country. You used to get all sorts of things made in this country. You used to buy a fridge and a TV and your toaster, and all of those things used to get made in this. Cars with British car companies, but none of them are now. They're all somewhere else. So this what you've described is the same, but it's not the EU's fault. Vivian in Blackpool. Vivian.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yes. What I wanted to say was, since the 1970s, I've worked all my working life, if you would. I'm retired now, but as far as my income tax that I've paid over all those years, a portion of it has gone to the EU. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted out of the European Union. It has done nothing for me all those years, and I get really frustrated when I think what's been paid to the European Union.
Vivian, it's done nothing for you?
No, nothing at all.
Right, well, what makes you say that?
Well...
You mean that nobody from the European Union has shown up on your doorbell, on your door, and rang your bell and given you money?
I live in Blackpool, and very little has ever come out of the European Union. It all goes down south pretty well.
Yeah, but that's not true, though.
Oh, it is?
Well, it isn't, Vivian.
Well, what's been done in Blackpool for us?
I've got no idea what's been done in Blackpool. I mean, I could look it up, but I'm doing a show at the moment. She wants me to do her homework for her.
Well, it hasn't impacted on me ever since we joined in the 1970s.
But you might as well say that you give money to the British government and they've done nothing for you.
Oh, yes, they have. They've done a lot for me as far as I'm concerned. But by the same token, what a lot of people don't realise either is that approximately 20% of the VAT that we pay goes back to the European Union. So 20 pence in every pound that you pay in VAT goes back to the European Union, and that hasn't been made clear either. Right. The VAT was introduced by the European Union. Up until then, we had a purchase tax that was paid on luxury goods, and that was it.
Any country can put their VAT at whatever level they want it to be at. That's got nothing to do with the European Union.
By the same token, when it was 5%, we paid a portion to the European Union. It's now at 20% here.
Approximately 43p per day per person. It's £153 per person per year, something like that. 153 quid is per person goes to the European Union. I'm telling you, these are the facts, Vivian. £153 per person goes to the European Union, and what we get back from the European Union in benefits of being a member of their club is £1,000 per person per year.
No,
so
we don't.
You absolutely do. It's £153 per person per year to be in the club, and you get back from that £1,000 per person per year.
It cost me £15. And out of that...
What cost you £15? What cost you £15?
VAT.
What cost you £15?
3 batteries.
Batteries?
Yes, 3 batteries. And I...
Don't tell me what they're for. It's none of my business. I don't want to know. Don't want to know.
Garage door. The remote control of my garage door.
Phew.
And they cost me £15.
Yeah, and that's the EU's fault, is it?
Well, it's not the EU's fault, but what I'm saying is out of that £15...
You're not listening to a word I'm saying, are you, Vivian? It's £153 per person to be a member of the club. That's how much money goes, and for that, we get back £1,000 per person per year.
Well, that's not what the Office of National Statistics say.
Yes, it is. Well, what do you mean? What do they say on this issue?
Well... Most of our money that we pay into the European Union goes to 25, no, hang on, there's 4 that doesn't. 21.
Is this what the Office of National Statistics says?
23 countries out of the 27 get most of the money back that's paid into the European Union.
Yes, but it's not a two-way thing. We don't give money and then just wait for them to give money back. There are benefits of being in the club. I mean, you do understand that.
The club, well, I don't like being in that club.
You don't like being in a club that costs £153 a year, for which you get £1,000 back?
I don't.
Well, that's madness, Vivian. You're making no sense. But I do appreciate the call. Let's have a call in Dymchurch. Hello, James.
Hi, Nick. You having a good night?
I'm very good night.
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. Firstly, I wanted to say, when I voted Brexit, but I never expected it to actually come through. I thought we were definitely going to vote as a country to stay in, and I was ready for it. I said to my wife at the time, when this happens, if we vote to remain, that's it. I'm as good as a European citizen, and I was prepared for it. But
if we voted remain, nothing would have changed.
Well, yeah, but the way.
What did you have to prepare yourself for?
Well, no, but I was just sort of like, I've always sort of been a little bit more. I suppose you call me, a little Englander, I suppose. But I thought once this vote happens, if we say we're remaining in the EU, I was like, well, that's it then. We'll never get a vote like that again. It will never happen. So I was prepared. I was ready to accept the decision. But it's just like, on the other side of the argument, it just seems like no one's prepared to accept it. But that put aside, because I think that's just a fact. I wanted to ask,
which bit's a fact?
That the people who wanted to remain are not prepared to accept it. That's why.
Well, it depends what you mean by it, because there's all sorts of remains and there's all sorts of leaves. Well, there's only one remain, but there's all sorts of leaves.
Well, from my circle of friends and what I see on the media, the general impression that I get is that they're not happy with it all. They want us to reverse the decision. They say things like it was an advisory vote.
Yeah, well, you won't hear that from me. We had a vote, and people thought that they were voting for where we were going. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Nigel we trusted, I suppose. But anyway.
Yeah. How's that working out?
Yeah, but the other thing I wanted to ask, because I keep hearing these analogies. You used one yourself. You said this chasm that we're going to fall into, and they're falling off the cliff. But I want to know, what does that really mean? I mean, because using an analogy as strong as that, what we're saying, like our economy's just going to flatline overnight, or are we talking realistically?
Well, nobody's got timelines, but I can tell you what's happened already. If you're interested.
Yeah, please.
Well, the pound has gone down by practically 15%. So there's that.
Well, yeah, I agree that happened overnight, as soon as the result came in. But it's pretty much stayed pretty steady since.
15% lower than it was before.
True.
So if somebody came to your house and just took 15% of your stuff, would you be okay with that?
No, but then having said that, it's the value of the pound it only matters if you're buying stuff from abroad. So it makes your life more expensive.
Well, if you can find things that were made in this country by British people with British ingredients that weren't taken from anywhere else on Earth, then I would like to know what they are.
I'm looking around. I'm struggling, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Can you reach out and touch anything that was made in Britain by British people with ingredients that were only sourced from this country? Anything at all? Just one thing, James.
Maybe this tissue paper? I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you tissue paper. I've got no idea. My guess is that it would come from somewhere else, but I don't know. But okay, tissue paper. According to the chap at the Bank of England, we're losing £800 million a week through loss of research and development investment, through loss of hiring people in this country where the offices are being opened in other countries, where people are leaving, and instead of opening factories in this country, they're opening factories elsewhere.
But is that because we're leaving, or is it because of the uncertainty of it all? I mean, if a decision
it's the same thing.
At least we knew what
it's the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
There would be no uncertainty if we weren't leaving. So that's £800 million a week. And then there's assets worth nearly £800 billion have been moved from Britain to new financial hubs in the European Union. £800 billion. That's already.
Okay, so, yeah, but what... Okay, they can move 800 billion or a trillion or whatever, but what I understand you're saying the moving of assets, but is that just like on the that figure on the computer has been moved from a computer here to a computer over there? I mean, was the government gaining tax off of that, or was it just a savings account? Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, not really. If companies have moved £800 billion of assets, then that's £800 billion we don't have anymore, and that's already. The EY, the giant auditing firm, has been tracking the Brexit plans of 222 financial firms.
Yeah.
It said 80 were considering or have confirmed already relocating assets and staff. And it seems to be increasing by the day. So, I mean, that's just a couple of things. I have to go now because I'm past the news. But that's just a few things that have happened. The £800 million a week, £800 billion of assets that have been moved out of the country. I mean, the pound has gone down by 15%. And people are still asking, well, where's the damage? Well, apart from all of the damage, I mean, what more do you want me to tell you? Here's a call in Manchester. Hello, Arthur.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Yes. Is that Nick?
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Yeah. How is it these people who are calling for a second referendum that Remain can win once, but Leave has to win twice?
Remain can win once, but Leave has to win twice. Well, because it's not a question of that. The first go-around was suffused with dodgy money and illegal acts and lies and misinformation. We now know, or at least you would hope that we know, more than we did then. So now we can make an informed choice about the prospects that are open to us. What's wrong with that?
Well, it's a bit of a miasma, isn't it?
A miasma?
Mm.
Right. What, like a soup?
Yes, swirling in the ether.
Yeah.
But
the smell of it.
Disgusting.
What I really want to mention too is when the United Kingdom had to leave Hong Kong, it was done with dignity. Apart from the heavy rainfall, and the Royal Yacht Britannia was there, the Prince of Wales was there, and Chris Patton was there, and they all drifted off into the into the night.
Yeah.
Now, why can't that happen over this?
Because it's not remotely the same.
Why not?
Well, we don't trade with Hong Kong in any great manner, as we are entwined with the European Union.
No, hang on a minute. We used to do. I used to buy pencils that said "Made in Hong Kong."
Well, yeah, okay, you may have bought a pencil from Hong Kong, but that was about the it of it.
Pardon?
Dude, the trade that we used to do with Hong Kong cannot compare in size and complexity with the trade that we conduct with the European Union, of course.
Yeah. Go on.
That's it.
Well, God willing, this Brexit saga will be over.
Okay, well, there's no such thing as God, but apart from that, fingers crossed. Thanks a lot, Arthur. 03, unless that was a controversial thing to say this close to Easter, in which case I withdraw it. There is such a thing as God, but only if you're a Remainer. Richard emails, you are so patronising. Thank you. Are you getting enough sleep during the day, as you seem a little tetchy, mate? He said, tetchily. Mate. Here's a call in Camberley. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Ben.
Hi. Yeah, my point is I voted Leave. Can't stand Donald Trump. So that's not necessarily true. We don't all like Donald Trump. But I
was making a generalisation, of course. You can't disprove a generalisation by citing a specific example.
No, I totally understand. He scares me like you wouldn't believe. And I hate the way that Brexit is going. But my reason for voting Brexit, and a lot of people really understand my reason for voting to leave, was because I lived in Cyprus. I was there for 8 years. I was there I moved there just before they joined the EU, and then I was there when we joined the EU, and for several years after. I don't know if you know, but Cyprus had a massive crash in their banking system a few years ago, and the EU very kindly closed our banks for a week or so, and then any business, rather than actually dealing with it and looking after the countries within the EU that they were supposed to and helping and supporting, they took 50% of all of our money from any business which was approved by the EU, and they told them that that was the correct way to do things. And we had no choice over this. The banks were closed.
Well, why did the banks crash?
Because of previous problems with Cyprus. It wasn't anything to do with the EU. They did struggle joining the EU because they had just had a massive influx of European nationals. So there was a massive influx. Cypriots just didn't want to work anymore because they... Well,
yeah, I hear this sort of thing about the Greek economy as well. They say it's the evil the European Union that has done us down. But there was a slight problem with actually, working and paying taxes. That they think that they can just carry on forever, not working and not paying taxes.
Yeah, it's such a small place, but they just wanted to. They wanted to own businesses and then everybody else working for them. Cyprus was such a unique place. They had a lovely atmosphere because Cypriots were fantastic and making you feel welcome. And then all of a sudden that was taken away because it was just European. Which was the idea of the European Union. But seeing that from that side of it, as I said, I had 29 staff and we had...
So Cyprus was... Run that by me again. So Cyprus was all about making people welcome.
Yep.
And then after they joined the EU, the EU didn't allow them to do that? Is that what you said?
No, I'm not saying the EU don't. No, definitely nothing. It's nothing. My problem with the EU is the fact that their solution, rather than using the money that they take from all of the richer countries within the EU to help Cyprus get through that problem, they decided to put it back to us as business owners, and they took 50% of our money. Anything that we had in our account, we had no say over it. They took that to recover the country.
Right, so Cyprus had to pay its own way?
In a way, yeah. But
okay, so I don't really see the problem.
So you don't see the problem?
Well, see, now, if we, in this country, had to pay Cyprus's bills, how would people in this country have felt about that?
I get the point.
I mean, as a country, if you run up bills, then why should another country come and pay them for you?
Because Cyprus was given the impression
that they would.
Not that they would, but the EU would assist them, because Cyprus was always run.
But when you say assist, you mean pay for?
No,
other countries should pay for your
help
debts.
Them to help, to help them to understand how they could get themselves out of those problems, because they knew that they were in those problems. When Cyprus was going back years ago in Cyprus, when they had what they call the invasion from the Turks and everything, they had so many problems. And everyone was receiving lots of money to try and generate and build up the country and generate businesses.
From who were they receiving all this money?
I got to be honest, I don't quite know. But there was, from my understanding, there was an injection of money into the country.
From where, though?
That I really don't know. I can't tell you.
Then,
I said I'm not a historian.
But you're giving me all this information as though you are. I mean, it's fairly important. Where did the money come from? But okay. I don't know anything about that, Ben, and it's not really... I don't care, to be honest. I mean, I've been there to Cyprus. It's nice and all. I mean, it's all right. I wouldn't go again, particularly. There's not much there to divert if you're not really interested in just lying on a beach and doing nothing, which I'm not. Meanwhile, here's a call in Farnham. Hello, Martin.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Hi, Nick. Do you think that there are any negatives with Britain having an open border with 500 million people, most of which are poorer than us?
Do I think there are any negatives?
Yeah.
Do you think there are any positives?
Well, you're all for Britain staying in the EU, and that's what the EU is. So can you think of any negatives of Britain being in the EU with that open border?
Can you think of any positives?
Well, Nick, I'd like to ask you questions to learn about how you feel.
Well, you know how I feel. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking me those questions in the first place. I do 6 hours a week on how I feel. I've never heard of you or your opinions. So why don't you tell me what you think?
Well, there's lots of negatives, aren't there? If you've got 500 million people that can come into your country, most of which are poorer than you. Have you been to India?
You don't seriously think that 500 million people are going to come here, do you? Because if they were, they could have done already.
Well, I think
there's also many rules and regulations about how you can come and how you can stay and how long you can stay and what you have to do while you're here. They can't just come flooding in, Martin. God, we've been through this. Why don't you stand in front of a picture of a random crowd and with the sign saying "We're full"? Oh no, that's they did that already, didn't they? Yeah.
I think the south of England is full. You know,
it's full. Oh, for crying out loud! Yeah. Farnham, just drive for 5 minutes in any direction, and all you'll see is fields.
Have you been to India, Nick?
Is it close to Farnham?
No, you'd have to get on an airplane because there's lots of people in India. There's plenty of people in India.
Yeah. Well, last time I looked, India wasn't a member of the EU.
India's a place that has too many people in it, and the EU, with an open border with Britain, is a place that has too many people in it.
Well, define too many.
People, I'll give you right. So there's 27 countries in the EU.
Do you know how much of this country is actually built on?
Britain is
full. Yeah, I heard you say that's full.
10 countries.
Do you know how many? Do you know what percentage of this country is actually built on?
What, Nick?
Well, guess. I mean, you're the man who just said it's full. Must be, 95%, something like that?
Good. People is good, migration is good, but India is overpopulated.
What's India got to do with the EU?
Because the EU has 500 million people in it, most of which are poorer than us.
If they were going, and so if they were going to come here, Martin, why aren't they here already?
Well, they are here, which is why...
we've got 500 million undocumented immigrants. Well, you were right. We are full. Jeez, I had no idea. There's 500 million undocumented immigrants in this country. Can you believe that?
No.
Well, it's science. Sometimes you just have to admit the facts. And if he said so, then it must be true. Otherwise, people might be calling him a liar. And that would obviously be a step too far. I'm not trying to ridicule him, but, you know. It's about 5%, by the way. 5% is built on in this country. And people that say that we are full have obviously never been out of their home. Farnham he lives in. He's surrounded by fields. I apologise for my stupidity. I'm probably about to have to do so again. To this next caller in Brixton. Hello, Richard.
Hi. Yeah, I've been listening. I've just been kind of really feeling sorry for you because you're failing to understand quite a few points, which I'd like to help you with. I don't know if I don't mean it in a bad way, but you know.
This is you. Okay, this is you not being insulting. I'd like to apologise for my stupidity.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally screwed. I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
I'm very apologetic. Yes, Richard.
I don't. Okay, so for example, there's one. You know, I've been hearing all kinds of things going through. I mean, for example, you said we pay £5, they give us 10 back. What is wrong with
No, not they give us 10 back. We accrue £10 from having. It's an investment.
Yeah, but there's a problem in that the whole structure of it, the way it's working, the way it's turning out, is that we're paying £5, and then the £10 we're accruing is going all to the top 1%, and everybody else is getting nothing.
Oh, well, that's our fault.
That's what. Well, I don't know.
That's got nothing to do with the EU, Richard.
Well, the thing is about it is that we're in the EU, and that's when it's happening. So we want to change and more power to be able to hold our MPs to account, so we can make sure they can't let it happen.
We already have that ability. That has nothing to do with the European Union.
No, well, I mean, that's the way people feel. I mean, whether you agree with it, they have a right to vote.
Well,
they have a right.
They can feel that ghosts exist, but that doesn't make it so.
Yeah, but the point is that they have a right to vote. Now, what democracy is about people having their own minds, their own opinions, and then they go and vote, and then you respect that, whether you like it or not, whether you think they're not intelligent enough, whether you think that they're not as informed enough is irrelevant. What is relevant is that they have their minds, they have their vote, and they can use it. And then when they use it, it means something. And that's what I think you're not really getting to understand.
No, you don't see.
Democracy is.
Yeah, no, it isn't. Democracy is voting for an elected your elected leaders who then make the difficult decisions for you. What we have at the moment is whoever shouts the loudest.
No, but the point I'm making is that you guys are wanting a second vote, and I'm saying no.
I didn't say we want a second vote.
Okay, well, there are people who Ramon is saying that.
Well, is this guy a Ramona?
We should have a second referendum.
Is that guy a Ramona?
Well, he is now. No, but the thing is about it is that basically I think all these are really important points that are being missed. That basically, as a person who's going to vote myself, I will vote. I don't want anybody telling me I'm not intelligent enough, I'm not informed enough. I'm putting.
Well, you might not want people to tell you that, but it depends on whether you're intelligent or informed as to whether somebody can say you're intelligent or informed. I mean, if you had an illness, Richard, would you go to an expert, or would you just ask the wisdom of crowds about how to cure yourself?
I will make a decision, and I will live with that decision.
No,
but the point,
you make a decision. You don't make a decision on your own health. You don't have a problem with your health and decide yourself about what to do with it. You go to a doctor.
No, I could decide not to go to a doctor, but that would be me living with my decision.
Okay, well that would be a stupid thing to do.
It doesn't matter. I still have a right to do that as a human being, and that's the point about democracy.
Yes, but that would not be a decision that would be worthy of respect, would it, Richard?
It doesn't matter if you don't respect me. The point
is, it does. That's your whole point. You said that your opinion must be respected. The opinions of people who voted must be respected. That's your whole point.
Yeah, but when I say that, what I mean is that basically, you have to respect my decision.
Exactly. But what if your decision is not worthy of respect? What if you said, well, I have cancer, and I have decided that the way to cure my cancer is to watch television?
Yep, that's fine.
Well, that is not a decision that is worthy of respect, though, Richard.
Yeah, no, but but the point is, you still have to respect me as a human being anyway.
Well, I don't. If your decision to cure cancer is to watch television, I'm sorry, but that you've gone over the line of at which I lose respect.
No, the main point I was trying to make is that basically, you and I know that people vote for different reasons, and whatever it is, it must stand. It doesn't matter what you think, whether you think it's right, whether you think it's wrong, whether you're intelligent or not, or whether you think they're informed enough or not. The people have been constantly voting for leaders. They don't know what's going to happen in the future. Things happen after they voted for the person which they did not expect, and that's just the way things go. It's just part of democracy. I don't see what the big deal is. I don't know why people are saying, "Well, you didn't know this."
Because the big deal is the mistake of asking us to decide on this complicated process in the first place, based on a lack of understanding on most of our parts. Colchester, hello, Chris.
Hiya.
Chris.
I think it's a bit silly to sort of compare the Leave Means Leave vote with the one today, because it's kind of going around the country and it's in the process at the moment. The Leave Means Leave, and it climaxes on the 29th of March. So
gathering supporters as they go.
Yeah, kind of. So we'll be able to see them.
It's up to 200 at the moment. You're doing very well.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
But and then also, the establishment wants us to stay in the European Union.
Well, why do you think though?
Well, because we're not allowed to leave the European Union.
No, but why do you think when you say the establishment, do you mean our parliamentarians?
I mean the civil servants, the bankers, the bureaucrats, the people like Tony Blair. The European Union wants us to stay in.
Yes, but why? Why do you think that? Why do you think that they do?
Because they do better than out of us than we do out of them. Like, I don't mean the country, I mean the people in the country. We're 1.7 trillion in debt. There's homeless people everywhere.
Yes.
Despite the government saying, unemployment's doing great, that's just nonsense because of
they're not very. Yeah, they're very bad jobs in a lot of cases. Yeah, but none of that has anything to do with the EU, though.
No, but we're not. Living in.
That's the Conservative. No, of course not. But that's the Conservative government. That is. And when we have less money, by all expert accounts, apart from a few cranks suggesting that when we leave we'll have less money to go around, then it's going to get worse for the poor. I mean, the rich will continue to be fine. Jacob Rees-Mogg, Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson, all those people, they'll be just fine. Don't worry about them. They've got tons of money. Nothing is going to affect their daily lives. But the poor in this country are going to suffer more when we're out than when we're in, if all of the experts, bar a few cranks, are right.
But what's an expert? Henry Kissinger said it was an expert was what could sum up best for what power wants. And I know he's not an idiot.
Okay, well, let's say people who run businesses. The vast majority of people who run businesses, which we are dependent on, want us to remain in the European Union because their entire business model is predicated on just that. If they import and export to Europe, which is the most likely destination for any products that are made in this country, if they bring products in from Europe or from outside the UK to make things here and then export them again, it's their entire business is really entwined with Europe to such an extent that to change it now is going to mean that they're going to have to rip everything that that is the base of their business apart, which means that a lot of them are just going to fold. Small businesses don't have the kind of money to throw at this kind of thing. If you're BP or something like that, then you could chuck $1 million at one of the big accounting firms and they could figure it all out for you while you go and relax on the golf course. But small businesses, medium-sized businesses, their margins are really tight. They haven't got the money for this kind of thing. So huge numbers of them are going to go out of business. Vast numbers of people are going to be unemployed. This country is going to be tossed up like a salad. And all for what?
Well, we did have this argument, and we heard horror stories before, and we still voted to leave.
Yeah.
And there's businesses that want to leave as well. I mean, I know. It's the
not many, though.
Not prepared.
There's not many businesses that want to leave.
The government only prepared for one outcome. They gave us a referendum, and they only prepared to stay in. And it just shook the establishment up because they didn't know what to do. and they've had 2.5 years. Businesses have had 2.5 years to prepare as well. No one's prepared. And Theresa May, she's whether it's complete incompetence or intentionally, she screwed this process up. I mean, listening to Yanis Varoufakis, he had the option of saying, well, we could have taken the Norway option as a
but that would have pleased almost no one. The Norway
option. But as a transition, say for 5 years. And
people would have said, "Oh, it's a trap. They'll never let us out of the Norway model." Just as they're saying that this Irish border backstop's a trap. You'll never please those that shout the loudest, because those that shout the loudest just want us to leave and never talk to Europe again.
Well, I want to leave, and I think the first referendum was rigged. Not rigged, but it was people were tricked. They didn't realise what we were getting into
completely
in 1975. So I think that was justice. I think it was justice for that referendum. It's not.
Yeah,
just
but since then, things have gone fantastically well for us. We used to be at that point. We used to be the sick man of Europe. How old are you? Don't answer that question. It's none of my business. Yeah. If you can remember what life was like in the 1970s in Britain, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We were the sick man of Europe. Life was pretty grim in the 1970s. You don't think that, looking back, people of a certain age, because you were younger then. Your knees worked and your hips worked, and there was a chance that you might actually, have sex again. And the music was great, and you were going out and having a good time. But do you remember that the lights went out at 6:30 in the evening? Do you remember that dead bodies were piled up in the street, that everybody was on strike all the blooming time?
But that was to join the common market, and that might have been the good thing. But we didn't sign up for the European Union, and we should have had a vote in 1991.
Well, now we know that we should never ask the people what they want at all, ever. This is the reason that we're in this mess. If we just left it to the people that we elect to decide, none of this would have happened.
But then we'd have we're heading towards an EU army, and I don't want that.
Why not?
I want foreign policy, because I want foreign policy to be chosen by the people, and the more giving it to Europe gives it even less chance.
Okay, well, first of all, Chris, I don't really see any problem with sharing the cost of a ruinously expensive defence system. A. B. There will be no European army that we will have to join and dismantle our own army. That is the epitome of Project Fear. It's nonsense.
No, it's not.
It's rerunning the Second World War. God, you'll be talking about Hitler next.
No, it's Tony Blair said last year in a meeting. He said if he talked openly about the European defence project, it would hurt the case for staying in Europe. You've got the Aachen Treaty between Germany and France. Pretty much,
Chris, in your wildest imagination, you can't possibly think that Europe would demand that we disintegrate our army, our air force, and our navy. You can't possibly think that. They would insist that we dissolve our defence forces. You can't. They may say, can you please chip in and we'll have a Europe-wide defence force, but that's not at the expense of your own. But anyway, what's Tony Blair got to do with it? He's just a commentator now. He's a walnut brown commentator. It looks like he's done really well for himself. But thanks, Tony. We are no longer interested in your opinions. I got to go, Chris. We're not getting anywhere. So let's just agree to disagree. Let's agree to agree that we disagree. How does that sound? How are the negotiations going so far, Mrs. M?
Oh, fabulous.
Romford. Hello, Denise.
Hello there.
Oh, Denise, ooby-doo.
Yes, I was upset with you.
Oh, no. What have I done now?
Very upset. But then I thought, hold on, you were talking sense when you were talking about big companies.
Yeah.
And I thought,
not completely awful.
Exactly. but I agreed with that chap that was on before. When you say about full employment, people think that people are daft. Everyone knows that the figures are not right.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, I'm employed.
Yeah.
So I'm.
You are in full employment.
Yeah. No, I'm not. 12 hours is the best this country can offer me.
What, a day?
12 hours a week.
A week, right. Well, that's not the best that they can offer you. There are other jobs.
No, but the reason is part-time used to mean 20 hours, full-time used to mean 40 hours. But because we've got uncontrolled immigration, they're sharing the jobs out. There's people struggling on 8-hour contracts, 12-hour contracts.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with the EU, Denise.
Well, of course it has.
Well, no, it doesn't, because you do understand that there's more people come here from outside the EU.
No, I'm 50-odd years old. I've seen the difference.
50 years old.
And that chap was right. It is a lot of the EU, and I've got a multicultural family. It's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but Denise, I'll restate my case. You do know that more people come here from outside the EU.
But over the last 30 years, I've seen jobs cut. I've seen us being undercut by cheap labour. I actually know that businesses take on cheap labour. They take on cheap labour.
Yes, but that's got nothing to do with the EU.
Well, of course it has.
No, it doesn't.
Uncontrolled immigration.
Listen, Denise, we get more people here from outside the EU.
No, not for the menial jobs.
Yeah, we do.
No. It used to be doctors and things come from wherever.
Yeah.
And nurses.
Well, there's not hundreds of thousands of doctors coming.
We never used to have the influx of EU people coming in, taking on the average menial job in shops, etc., like people like me need.
Menial jobs in shops. Well, people from this country don't have a yen for doing those jobs.
Have you ever tried job searching?
Have I ever tried job searching?
Have you ever actually tried job searching, looking for a job?
Yeah.
As in, like someone like me who would want a normal, just average job, not a doctor, not a scientist, just an.
Well, Denise, you name it, I've done it. Labourer on a building site.
Have you ever? Do you walk down the road and see people, mainly British people, in tents lying on the streets because they're being pushed out onto the streets because there's no room for them left?
I see
in their
people
country.
in tents on the streets. I don't think I haven't actually engaged them in conversation, but I don't think they're British.
Well, I walk down the road every day and I see people laying on the street when they could be employed on building sites. But most people on building sites don't speak English.
Well, that's not true.
Well, I can't remember the last time.
There's a skills shortage on building sites. I think the average age of a British bricklayer is over 50, and there's very few British people who are coming up who are learning that skill. So in order to keep companies laying bricks, they're having to look elsewhere.
Well, do you realise the only people that really don't want us to leave the EU are business people?
Well, but business people are the ones that make the country go round.
They like the cheap labour.
No, that's not it.
And it undercuts the people that have to live in this country and pay the cost of living, who can't find the jobs. We're the ones that are being pushed out.
You've got it all wrong, Denise. I'm afraid you have. It's like people have been hypnotised to blame those below them on the ladder. They're not the fault. They're not at fault. It's the people above you on the ladder who are trying to persuade you that it's the people below you that are dragging you down.
No, we need controlled immigration.
Listen, Denise, we have controlled immigration over all of the people, the more than 50% that come here from outside the EU. You're not listening to me.
Go around.
Oh, please, there are. We've got full employment. There's just no talking to them. Here's Wakefield. Hello, Tony.
Hi.
Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to you for the last 20 minutes, 18 minutes, something like that.
You're very disappointed.
Everybody who voted Brexit's a fool and didn't know what they were doing and doesn't understand anything.
Well, can I just stop you there, Tony? I didn't say that in the last 20 minutes. I don't know what show you're listening to, but it's not this one.
I'm afraid you kind of have. You said to the guy...
Well, no, I kind of didn't.
Well, hang on. You said to the previous caller, you said, who understood this, who understood that? Probably none of them. Well,
none of us.
A lot of people did understand it.
Really?
I knew what accredited economic operator status was before you'd ever heard of it.
Wow, you're amazing me, Tony. That's fantastic.
So, no, but people did understand.
No, they didn't. What do you mean by people?
Oh, God.
What do you mean by people?
Nick, you're being a moron. Do you know that?
Yes, I do. It's part of the job. What do you mean by people, Tony? Do you mean you, or do you mean everybody? Or do you mean like 6 people? What do you mean by people? People understood it.
Shut the...
Yeah, okay. See what I mean? They're just furious. They're just absolutely... and whenever they call in and say, oh, stop calling us stupid. Well, first of all, I didn't call you stupid. Not knowing the rules of the World Trade Organization is not the same as being stupid. Only a stupid person would think that. But boy, they really are defined by their fury, aren't they? What the hell have you got to be so angry about? Let's have Burnley. Dave.
Hiya, how's it going?
Great, mate.
I've just come in. I'm listening to the show.
Where have you been?
I've just been for a drink, actually.
A drink? What did you drink?
Well, I had whiskey.
Yeah.
And I had a real ale.
What, at the same time?
One after the other.
One after, right. So it wasn't a chaser?
No.
Right.
I had the whiskey first and then the bitter.
Yeah, but you want the whiskey first just because you need to get, a little bit out of it immediately.
I have a whiskey every night. I love a whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm English, but I love a whiskey.
Right. So the whiskey comes first because you need immediate, like a mental cosh.
Pacification.
Yeah.
Pacification.
And then...
I like a whiskey to get going, and then I'll have a real ale.
Right. So this is you got going.
That's me going, yeah. Like I say, I've never listened to your show, but...
Oh, no. You're probably very disappointed, and I apologise.
Are you on in the morning? Because I listen to it at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Am I on in the morning?
Yes.
Well, do I sound like the man that's on in the morning?
What's he called?
Well, it depends on...
What's he called? At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I put it on. You're not that guy, are you not?
No. Whatever day of the week you're talking about.
So what's your name?
Oh, God. Well, so
honest to God, I've just turned the radio on. I've heard you. You're on about Brexit, immigration.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I'd have a bit of a call to you.
Yes.
Because I don't agree with you.
Oh, no. Surely not.
Yes.
Is this the whiskey talking?
No, this is the real ale. What it were is that you mentioned we didn't know what we were voting for.
Yes.
Is that you? Do you agree with that?
Well, did I say it?
The government sent us a leaflet through before the referendum, and it gave all the details.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you read it?
That. Yes.
What did it say?
It said the reasons why we should stay in the European Union.
Right.
The customs union, the everything.
Everything.
I didn't agree with it because I thought Britain is a good enough country to make its own decisions.
Right. So
you
really didn't understand it at all, then or now. Is that what you're saying?
Are you trying to say I'm wrong?
I'm not trying to say you're wrong, Dave. I am saying
you're
wrong.
Are you saying you're wrong? So what did it say then?
I'm not saying that you're wrong about what the leaflet said. I'm saying that you're wrong about your assertion based on the supposed reading of that leaflet.
So that leaflet...
Some vague assertion that we are Great Britain and we can stand alone and I don't know where you got that nonsense.
Are you trying to say that leaflet by the government was rubbish?
No, Dave, I'm saying what you're saying is rubbish.
So what am I saying?
He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know what he's saying. Good grief, you're all over the place, Dave. How many whiskies have you had tonight?
Well, quite a few, actually.
Well, I think that answers a lot of questions. Maybe you should think about cutting down a bit.
You might be right there, actually.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say, we all had a leaflet through, and we had to make a decision, and we did.
Based on no information of any kind whatsoever. You didn't base your decision on the leaflets, did you?
Are you trying to say that government made a £9 million decision to put that leaflet through everybody's door on a load of rubbish?
No, not what's on the leaflet. I'm saying that you are saying rubbish. You're claiming that you based your decision on the leaflet, but you didn't by your own admission.
So why did the leaflet come through our door?
In the hope that somebody might read it to learn something. But sadly,
everyone who voted Brexit read that leaflet wrong.
I very much doubt that most people who voted Brexit did read the leaflet.
Well, it come through my door.
Yeah.
I read it, and I decided that I didn't want to agree with the European Union.
Right, why?
I thought
But
I
why,
want-
though? Why? Based on what information?
Because I want Britain to make its own
Right, so
decisions.
but based on no information, based on some vague, waffly notion that Britain can stand alone and we bestride the world and all of that God Save the Queen stuff. Oh, it's painful.
Britain can stand alone.
No, of course we can't. How can any country stand alone, for crying out loud, Dave? You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm sorry. I agree with a lot of your things you said tonight. So I just thought you might say I had a bit of an opinion myself.
Well, life
life
is full of disappointments, Dave. Get used to it. I think maybe have another whiskey. That'll solve all of your problems. Thanks a lot, mate. Let's have Billericay, Dickie. Andrew.
Yes, hello, Nicky. There are very close parallels to after the war, the Second World War. A lot of people
There aren't any parallels to this being close to the Second World War. Name one.
No, I'm talking about the situation after the war, when we had even worse rationing than during the war.
Apparently.
And it made us extremely
thin,
imaginative. We started growing our own crops in our gardens, and we must underestimate the English. We people in England are extremely good when our backs are to the wall.
Andrew, you've got to be kidding me. We're going to go and dig for victory?
Why not? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And,
well, it'd be okay if you actually had a garden, but a lot of people live in flats. What are they going to do?
It's only going to be for a short time anyway.
How long?
And within a year.
Within a year, everything will be fine. Okay.
Well, the owner of... I was listening to the owner of Wetherspoons the other day, and, for example, the NHS, we all know...
Wait a minute, are you about to refer to something that you read off a beer mat in Wetherspoons?
No, I'm a very rare visitor to Wetherspoons. I go in there for a coffee sometimes. Right. I can have as many...
but why did you mention it, though? You mentioned it, and then you started down a road. It sounds like you're going to repeat something you read off a beer mat.
No, I was listening to what he said the other day. It is just fear-mongering.
Oh, it's not fear-mongering if it's already happened. If our position is significantly worse than it was before, it's not fear-mongering if it's already happened, Andrew.
Nicky was talking about £1 trillion already leaving the country in assets. I can assure you that will be replaced with another £3 trillion.
Really? How can you assure me that? Because 800 billion, 0.8 of a trillion, has already left.
The smart money always finishes up here. The smart money always finishes.
Wow, that's just really. I can't hear anymore because that's just the dumbest thing I've heard on this show so far. Don't worry, everything's going to be all right because we're British. Nothing bad will ever happen to us because we're British, damn it! Yeah, I read it on a beer mat in Wetherspoons. Oh, please. It's excruciating. I can't bear it anymore, Andrew. I'm going to turn you down, and I'm going to wish you all the best. Ta-ta.
Bye-bye.
Ipswich. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Nick. Peace on you.
Yeah, peace on you too.
Thank you. From a great height. But, did you just say you were stoned?
Stunned.
Stunned? Oh, I thought you were admitting that you were high on drugs.
I am stunned that you would even say such a thing.
Want to score some pot?
Not tonight. I'm just thinking, if we spend another 40 years in the EU, I wonder if I'll be able to retire at 80. or do you reckon that would be a bit older? You know, because I've seen it go up to nearly 70, so I'm just a bit worried that if we spend a few more years, I might not be able to retire until I'm 80.
Well, what's that got to do with the EU?
Well, in the 40 years that we've been in the EU, we've seen our standard of living drop so much.
Drop?
And our,
in what way has it dropped?
My wages are still the same as what I was earning in 1990.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with the EU, though.
Well, it does, because
no, it doesn't.
There's so much competition for the work. And because they keep threatening me with... that guy that says he can't get a good physio, surely that's the job for a robot in the NHS. So, you know, that will be... the robots will take that job.
Well, the robots are going to take, by many measures, anything between 20 and 60% of all jobs.
Affirmative.
I hope so. Didn't we, a few years ago, bail out the Irish banks when their banking system collapsed, and we gave them up to £8 billion to keep the Irish economy going?
If you say so. We were throwing money around like a drunken sailor.
Yeah, and we've done that without going through the EU, and the EU weren't going to help the Irish economy, so the British actually helped the Irish banks stay afloat so that the economy didn't collapse. But then again, that's just another story. That's what we British do. We just give money away to any good charity. But what I phoned up about was I was hearing you talking about the Americans getting into the NHS.
Yes.
And taking over all the systems and controls of it and whatever.
No, that's not what I said at all.
Well,
the Americans want to remove the limit on the amount that American pharmaceutical companies can charge the NHS for the drugs.
So the cost of stuff from America will go up considerably.
Yes.
But doesn't that mean we can buy from elsewhere?
Well, not if the drug is made by an American pharmaceutical company. We can't.
But can't we buy from British? Because we've got some good pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, but not every pharmaceutical company makes every pharmaceutical.
Because I just don't understand why the NHS can't control its own system and dictate how much it pays, because it's
at the moment it is.
Yeah, so
but we want a UK-US trade deal. They're insisting that we don't. That's us getting back control, that is.
Well, why are we buying their drugs now then?
Are you not listening to what I'm saying? Because they make the drugs that we need.
Yes, but surely, look, we all know you can buy a cheaper version of Viagra, don't we? You know, you can buy that for about 25p. And it's the same drug.
Well, if you say so, Gary. I'll bow to your expertise on this issue.
I've been told that anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's like, can you imagine all of our fast food chains buying chlorinated chicken? The people would boycott the places.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't.
They would.
No, they absolutely would not. And I know that that's true. They would not, Gary. We are not ethical consumers. We do not act in our own best interest as consumers. We're just interested in what's cheap.
Well, we're fast becoming a vegan society anyway.
Oh,
so
please. No, we're not. That's definitely not going to happen.
Well, I don't see that the average person would take their children into a fast food chain and expect their child to eat, you know, because...
Gary, listen to what you just said. The average, you don't think that the average person would take their children into a fast food chain. Why? Because the food in there might be bad for their children? The food in there is bad for their children, and they're still doing it.
Yes, but the food that they're serving up is British or Irish. The beef is made in the UK, and
But you know what would be better than taking? Yeah, no, I'm not. You know what would be better for them? No, I am not. You know what would be better for a parent than taking their child into a fast food chain is to not take their child into a fast food chain. I mean, that's absolutely indisputable. So to say that a parent will only make the best choices for their child's health is to ignore what every parent practically does with their child. I mean, the stuff that the parents feed their children, look at the size of children these days. There used to be one fat kid in a class. One. These days it's the other way around. Why? Because of the food that the parents feed their children. To say that parents are these only buy the most ethically sourced and healthy alternatives for their children is absolute rubbish. They feed them no end of tripe. So it doesn't really matter whether the ingredients come from America or Mars. It won't make no difference as long as it's cheap.
I can't see the big companies buying it. I can't see.
You can't see the companies buying something that's cheaper, a cheaper ingredient to improve and increase their profits. You can't imagine that would happen.
No, because the advertising and the people just wouldn't. That they would boycott the places, surely.
What gives you the idea that we would do that? You remember a little while ago there was a big to-do about coffee companies, like chains of coffee companies not paying any tax. You remember that?
Yeah.
And there were a couple that were named and shamed, and they said, right, well, we're going to have a boycott. You know how long the boycott lasted? Till lunch. Nobody boycotted because we're not interested in that. We're just interested in price and convenience. That's all we care about. Amazon was another thing. They are been accused of having a very efficient tax regimen. People said, right, we're going to boycott them. And furthermore, we're going to try and save the high street. And that lasted about 10 seconds as well. It just isn't going to happen. We don't boycott. We know that.
Well, I don't understand how people can afford to buy these cups of coffee anyway, because they're grossly overrated. The top half of most of the coffees are cold anyway.
Foam. Yeah.
I just think to myself,
it's a little treat, Gary. It's drugs. People will always find money for drugs. It's true.
Oh yeah, I know. I just heard you say it. You said you were stoned.
Is it? No, I didn't.
I know you didn't. You said you were stoned.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Gary. Ealing. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah. 63 million didn't march today, if you're going to put it that way.
Yeah. On Nigel Farage's march. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
No. 63 million people did not march.
Did not march with Nigel Farage. Correct.
Well, that's just a silly comment,
it's as silly as yours. It reflects your comment perfectly. Let's agree that we're both being silly.
No. I'm saying something. I am saying something silly to show how silly your point was about how insignificant 17 million people in the biggest ever democratic turnout in this country, and we had a result. Now,
right. Okay, well, let's do it again and see how we go, unless you're fearful of what might happen next, or unless you're concerned about what the people actually think. Now we've gone through this the last 3 years. Now people know more. Unless you're frightened of losing, then let's ask the people again what they think. After all this time has gone by, now we know much, much more than we used to.
Well, again, to use your terminology, that's just infantile as well, as you were really rude to your last book.
Who, me?
Being infantile, yeah. When he said we've had a Democrat.
Well, answer the question. Why are people like you so fearful of asking the people, after all this time has gone by, after all the new information that we've taken on board, why are you so fearful about what the people might actually think, about what the will of the people actually is?
Let me tell you. The problem with your view of democracy, it's only democratic if it happens to go your way. Now,
no, Andrew, that's your problem. I'm willing to. No, it's not. You only want it once. We won. That's it. Finished. Forever and ever. Amen. Even though the younger people in this country who are going to have to live with this decision the longest, they don't want it. By a vast majority, they do not want for the country to go in the direction that the older people are taking it. That is indisputable. So let's ask the people what they think. Again, after 3 years of new information, of some information being absorbed over the last 36 months, people know now more than they knew then. So let's now see what the will of the people is.
Okay, do you want me to respond to that?
Yeah, only if you want to.
Okay, right. Admittedly, it was ill-defined what Brexit meant, because we can't actually say what the deal will be. I would have been happy with WTO. That was the basis. That was the fallback, if you like.
You would have been happy with it. But what do you mean happy with it?
Yes, I would be.
Well,
as indeed would many major industrialists. As indeed would
name the major industrialists.
Dyson.
What, the chap who's just gone to Singapore?
He hasn't just gone to Singapore.
He has gone to Singapore.
He hasn't.
Yes, he has. James Dyson has opened his head office, has removed his head office to Singapore. That's what he's done. Name another one. Why don't you say Ineos?
3 jobs to Singapore.
No, Andrew, that's missing the point entirely.
No,
when people like you say that, a bank has only sent 3 of their people to Frankfurt, or Dyson only moved 3 jobs to Singapore, how can you be that close-minded? That's not what's happened. If a bank only moves 3 people to Frankfurt, what they also do is not open an office in London, which they might have done. They do instead now open an office in Frankfurt or Paris or New York or Singapore or any of these places. It's not the loss of the individual job where somebody packs their bag and leaves. It's the loss of the future jobs that they would have created in this country that they're now creating abroad. But you must know that, though, right?
You're speculating.
No, it's not speculation. It's true. It's happened already. It's not Project Fear. It's happened already.
You lied earlier on about Nissan and... Well, you didn't mention Honda. You could have mentioned Honda. Both of them have said that actually what they have done has nothing to do with Brexit. Both have said that...
No, they didn't. That's the opposite of what they said. They did not say that.
Yes, they have.
No, they didn't. They cited Brexit as one of the causes of them making those decisions. Companies are making those decisions all the time. Companies don't just plan for tomorrow or next week. They plan for 5 years or 10 years down the road. And the decisions that they've made, they can't unmake. Oh, God, Andrew, it's painful. You sound like a smart man. Why don't you try taking on board some information once in a while? It's excruciating. Just having the same conversation with people like you over and over and over again. Oh, I want to go on WTO rules. Oh, really? And what does that mean? I've got no idea. All these industrialists, they want to go on it like, the bloke who looks like Catweasel who runs pubs. Or there's the fellow that's gone to Singapore, patriotically up sticks and left. Now his main tax base is in Singapore. Or there's the fellow that runs the chemical company. He's patriotically gone to Monaco, like that guy. Lancaster. Hello, Peter.
Hello. I just want to take a bit of exception to your comments a while ago. Basically berating anybody that voted Leave as though they didn't know what they were voting for. We didn't know any laws that...
No, if you were listening carefully, Peter, I said everybody. Nobody really knew. I mean, what we know now is not what we knew then.
Well, I think I knew as much then as I know now.
Oh, well, then...
And a lot of people I know think the same.
Well, that's alarming, Peter.
The whole media telling everybody that they
You've learnt nothing in the last 3 years?
Oh, vast amount, no.
Oh, my God. And you're bragging about that?
I mean, I was like, no.
You're bragging that after 3 years of information overload, you've learnt nothing.
Not an awful lot, no.
Oh, my God, it's worse than I thought, everybody. In fact, it's exactly as I have been saying all along. It's not that people don't know. I mean, that's understandable. It's worse than that. It's willful ignorance. It's a determination not to learn. Geez, this guy's so pleased with himself. He's actually bragging on national radio that he hasn't learned anything in 3 years. Jeez. I think you need to take a pause, Peter, and think about what you've just said. Maybe you should write it down on a piece of paper, and when you wake up for tomorrow, just look at it and think, well... maybe that's not the right thing to brag about. You've learnt nothing in 3 years. Jeez. Herne Bay. Richard.
Yeah, it's just regarding the Irish hard border potential, why can't we go as much as he's a nutter, Donald Trump style, and sit there and say, we don't want a hard border, we're leaving the EU?
Yeah, but by leaving the EU, we are insisting that there are differences between us and the European Union as regards tariffs, because otherwise, I mean, that's a major part of leaving, so that we can negotiate trade deals with other countries. So you can't have it both ways.
No, but who's instigating that? If we're happy,
we are by leaving.
No.
Yes, we are by leaving. You can't have a border that doesn't exist between a trade bloc and an outside country.
The Irish don't want a hard border,
right? And we don't either, apparently.
And neither do we. So therefore, if a hard border comes in, why is there a problem? Why can the UK not sit there and say, we don't want it, the Irish don't want it, therefore, EU, you do something, instead of us having to negotiate on something that our people have voted on?
Yes, but Richard, we are insisting on there being some sort of border because we're leaving. It's not them that have caused this problem, it's us. But anyway, if you haven't figured that out yet, I can't help you. Let's have a call in. Who's been waiting the longest? Stockton on Tees. Hello, Brian.
Yeah, good evening, Nick.
Yeah, good evening, Brian.
Well, the plot thickens, doesn't it? Have you seen the papers tonight?
What?
Well, the indicative vote is Monday, and she's going to bring a deal back for a fourth go.
Yeah, maybe a fourth go round, but there should be a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
I wish you'd stop playing that. We know he never said that.
He did say it.
We should have a second referendum.
That is him. He said that.
We know, but you know he only said that last resort. I mean, it's about your time he took that off. You know.
No, definitely not. I'll be playing that forever.
We should have a second referendum.
So anyway,
stop complaining,
whinging and whining and moaning.
Well, you don't know for that, Nick. But anyway, let's get on to real things, eh?
Real?
Serious things.
Are you trying to tell me that Nigel Farage is not a real or serious thing?
Right. Can we go on? Can we finish with that? So she's going to add what the best indicative vote is to her deal. Stick it, contact.
Yeah.
And there's Ellen over it. So obviously the Brexiteers are about walking out. Remainers are saying they'll walk out.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy Corbyn, your lefty mate, Jeremy Corbyn.
I've never voted for him in my life.
Well, you never say a wrong word about him.
No, that's completely untrue.
He must be rubbing his hands.
Last time I described him on the air, I called him a weirded beardo. No, a bearded...
Yeah, that's the worst you ever said about
weirded beardo. A bearded weirdo.
But anyway,
thereabouts.
I mean, I was like you, Nick, at first. I thought there would always be a deal made between... I thought they both wanted some kind of deal.
Yeah.
But, you know, nobody knows what's going to happen now. You know, it could even split the Tory party.
It's split. Everything that we used to know about politics in this country has now been tossed up into the air like a salad.
But what I'm actually saying, Nick, is...
Yeah, what are you saying, Brian?
They could actually do split two parties.
Right.
The way it's going.
Well, then that will play right into the hands of Uncle Jezzo, won't it?
That's what I'm saying. You know, he must be rubbing his hands the way they're going on.
Yeah.
But,
all he has to do is sit back, put his feet up, and let the Tory party fight itself to death. Thanks a lot, David Cameron.
I think this is nonsense.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the last vote, the third vote there. Now, why people in the North are so upset with Labour and in the Midlands is 71% of their constituencies, Nick, voted to leave. 71%. And they had that vote the other day. And he's trying to stop their deal getting through all the time. Any deal. He's just trying to cause confusion all the time. 234 Labour voted against the deal.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, that was then. That was then, and this is now. So it's all changed now. We should vote again because the people have changed their minds. Actually, that's not true. A lot of people have changed their minds, but the people, in general, haven't changed their minds. Then, as now, the overall will of the people is to remain in the EU.
I disagree with that.
Well, it doesn't matter whether you disagree with it, it's true.
No, it's not true.
It absolutely is true.
You pick the views that you want to take.
No.
You're biased.
Poll after poll after poll since the referendum shows that the vast majority of people in this country want to remain in the EU. And of the hundreds of polls that have been taken by different pollsters, paid for by different organisations, I think in the 2-3 years since the referendum, only about 4 have showed that that leavers are the largest number of people. It's almost all Remainer wins.
But that doesn't prove what will happen in another referendum.
Well, then why would you be... See, what gets me is why people who want to leave are so frightened of asking the people what they think. They keep telling us that it's the will of the people, but they don't want... They're scared of actually testing that theory.
Nick, you know why they don't want it.
Because they know they're going to lose.
No, it's not that. You know what it is? They don't even know what is going to be put on the ballot paper. They think they will be robbed again. No, they got robbed on the 29th of March.
You got duped.
They got betrayed.
You got duped. You didn't get robbed.
What are you on about?
You got duped.
What with?
With a lot of dodgy, illegal acts and dodgy money and a lot of lies and misinformation. Duped,
Nick,
as in
Nick,
fooled.
Who spent the most money? Leave or remain? Who spent the most money?
Leave.
Remain did.
No, they didn't.
And that is well-known fact.
Okay, well, how much?
Well, they've got 9 million of taxpayers' money.
No.
They've got 9 million of taxpayers' money. That is more than the Leave had for everything.
No, it isn't.
Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. Tell me. It's incorrect. The billionaires that were behind Leave had an unlimited amount of money to pour at it, and we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. Let's have a call in Wanstead. Hello, Patricia.
Hello, my dear.
Patricia.
Yes.
Yes, Patricia.
Right. Okay. Is it my turn now?
It is your turn now.
Right. 2 things. Vince Cable must be leaping and jumping about every night because all Remainers have somewhere to go. The Liberal Party. He must have millions and millions of voters now. Number 2, please don't keep comparing the sizes of the marches. The Remainers have to march because they lost. The Leavers don't have to march because we won. That's why we didn't go on the march.
Oh,
No
please.
need.
That's rewriting history there, Patricia. Are you kidding me? Neither of those two things are true. First of all, people don't choose their political parties based on whether they, on their positions on Brexit. They choose their political parties based on whether they like the bloke or the woman off the telly, or they've always voted that way, or a multiplicity of other different positions and issues.
Not popular, not photogenic, not charismatic. Let them get another leader. And which European Union do you want to be a party of? The new one that's going to be right-wing?
The new one that's going to be right-wing?
Absolutely, they know it is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And the Eastern Europeans don't obey any of the rules anyway.
Okay.
So is that the EU you want to be a party of?
Yeah, whatever you say. I can't argue with you, Patricia. 03, because I don't want to. Mostly I can't be bothered. Everything you just said is wrong. But apart from that, Farnham, thanks for waiting, Martin.
That's okay, Nick. The world seems to work fine outside of the EU. 19 out of the 20 people, 19 out of 20 people on the planet are outside of the EU. And if Britain makes its own laws, it can decide on the types of food that it imports.
Only if the people that we are importing it from agree.
Well, they agree in Australia, they agree in Canada, in Japan, in Singapore. Britain can set its own tariffs outside the EU. So I think we should be optimistic.
Right, but we've just seen the details of what America wants, and there's no optimism involved.
Well, America still trades with Britain, even though the EU hasn't got a trade deal with the US.
That's true, but our market is not open to their agricultural products.
Well, it could be if that's what the
exactly.
Then it can have that, but it doesn't have to because it's a democracy. And if you don't like the laws, then you vote in different MPs and they change the laws.
No, we don't vote on individual trade deals, Martin.
Well, we vote for politicians that have manifestos
every 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, just like how it was before Britain was in the EU.
Right, just like it is now.
Just like how it.
Just like it is now.
How it is.
Just like it is now. Yeah. Well, we're in the EU. It's the same thing.
It's different because you have non-British citizens voting on laws that affect Britain. And that wouldn't happen if Britain left the EU.
No, that's right. We would be subject to the laws of whichever country it was that we were trying to do a trade deal with. And America is a prime example.
But only if the British agreed. You know, I'm going to live in Australia in 3 or 4 months, and Australia agrees to trade with the US on terms that the Australian government agrees to trade with. Nobody forces Australia to, or Japan, or all these other. It's like Britain before the EU.
Yeah, and do you know the results of the free trade agreement that Australia has made with America?
Well, I don't know everything. All I know.
Well, no, I mean, do you know vaguely how it's gone for Australia?
Australia's fine. Australia's the high standard of living in Britain.
You mean it's still there?
Australia's lovely. Lots of British people.
It's
like to live
fine.
In Australia.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you've looked into it. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Martin. Ta-da, and have a nice trip. Bon voyage, or whatever they say in Australia. Here's a call in Parsons Green. Hello, Michael.
Oh, hello. I am just concerned about who elected you to ridicule Nigel Farage
to ridicule
and also
him.
To belittle our country.
Well, you want the name of the person?
Well, I'd like to know who put you up to this.
Who put me up to it?
Yes.
Well, that suggests subterfuge. Who put me
whatever
up to
subterfuge it was, Nick,
yes.
I think it's a very poor show.
This show is a poor show.
I think you are ridiculing Nigel Farage, but in particular for belittling our country.
It's a bit of a strange way of saying ridiculing. I think you've got the emphasis wrong.
Well, I'm not concerned about.
Well, I'm very concerned about it.
Well, you can be very concerned, but I just think I'd enjoyed listening to your show until I thought you're just going over the top.
Yeah, a little bit over the top.
Yes. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Okay.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Sadly, yes. Dave says, and I don't mean to ridicule him, but that was just really bizarre. Stockton on Tees. Hello, Brian.
Yeah, good morning, Nick.
Brian.
Why do you have to be so derogatory to this country?
I'm not.
According to you, the EU is perfect. I mean, you've just had it.
When have I ever said that?
You've just had one of your jibes on. Yeah. You know, that's derogatory.
When did I ever say that the EU was perfect?
Well, your advert we just had on, that jingle you just had on.
That was God Save the Queen.
It's taken the mickey out of the UK.
Well, it was taking the mickey out of God Save the Queen. No, I was taking the mickey out. Wait a minute. You accused me of saying that the EU was perfect. You said, according to me, the EU is perfect. Never said it. Never said it this show or any other show or ever before in my entire life. So that was a lie. So I think I've heard all I need to.